Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexios here. Saturday morning. We're doing Saturday Share Love Club, and today we're finally sharing love for Gradey Dick. That's right. We're finally doing the Share the Love Club for Gradey Dick. I I wanted to do one for him the last two summers, this past summer and then the summer before, but I was like, let's pick the right time to show love to Grady. And one of the things I was looking for before I wanted to do a Share the Love Club from Grady Dick was a sign that he is really into being a Raptor. And I got those signs recently. You know, a young kid from Kansas who got drafted to the Raptors. You're not in Kansas anymore. You're in Canada. Often, you can worry and wonder, is this kid really have his heart set on being in another country and playing for the one NBA team that is not in the United States? And at times I've wondered about, is what's Grady's long-term future with the Raptors? I'd like him to be on the Raptors for a long time because I know he's the type of player that we've wanted on our team for a long, long time, and we got him now. So, and we always heard Masai when he was still working with us officially that he saw him with Scotty as the future of the Raptors. He would say, Scotty and Grady, he would say them together as, very much franchise pieces that they're building around. So, Grady recently did an ad campaign for Tim Hortons. And it really struck me that this kid knows a lot about Canada already, that he's a very special, talented kid and not just a dopey, goofy white kid. He's really, really talented. I mean, we saw at summer when they were in Spain playing soccer that Grady pulled off this crazy backflip and everybody on the Raptors went crazy. I've just seen him do this. Some of them said afterwards, I didn't even know he could do that. Well, he's probably not going to do it on the basketball court because that's dangerous. It's hard, but he could get away with it on the grass out there in the soccer field. But yeah, Grady has an enthusiasm, a playfulness, and a seriousness also at the same time that is a nice balance. And he's fun to be around, but he's also, you can tell he's not goofing around with his career and not taking it seriously. That's awesome. I mean, he's great locker room guy. He's a great personality to have around the Raptors for everybody. Even if he's a little bit of a clown sometimes, he makes people laugh. He keeps things light. And, he's also that kind of guy on your team that when there's something going on in the game, he's going to be a sure shot at some point and he's going to hit big shots for you. And in some ways, that's somebody you love to have on your team. Somebody that's a reliable outside three-point shooter that when things are needed to be dependent on, he's going to nail that shot. And, so there's a lot to like about Grady. Now, yesterday we had a surprise press conference. Media day for Bobby Webster happened on Friday this year. It's very out of the blue. And this may be a sign of the new MLSE ownership. Usually Bobby would do his GM press conference after the team and the coach on Tuesday. That they would have they're going to have all the players come out on Monday and do all their interviews, and Coach Darko also. And then usually Masai or Bobby would come around the next day and do the overview from the head office. Well, they did it ahead of it at this time. And in some ways, I like this. Is this you, Keith Pelly? Did you make this decision? You're like, Bobby, I think I want you to do the press conference on Friday instead this year, because I want you to get the Raptors fans excited so they can have a great weekend. Was that what that was? Because in some ways, this is what happened here. Bobby Webster came out and did his media day, pre-season media day, pre-training camp, and we all got enthusiastic real fast yesterday. It wasn't Masai. It wasn't the inspiration and the gravitas of Ujiri. But there was still a lot to be like, wow, I can't wait for Raptors season to start, because I'm listening to Bobby Webster talk right now, and I am all about seeing the fit. That's right. Yeah, surprise press conference from Bobby Webster was fantastic. It was another one of these ones where the Raptors front office comes out and proves a lot of stuff that the Raptors freak and the logical Raptors fanatic have been saying all summer is exactly true. People worry about the salary cap and things like that. What did Bobby say? Bobby said, I don't understand where this story came from this summer. That's what he said. So good. So good. I love redemption. I love when I, because I sit here every morning and talk about the Raptors, and I want to be not wasting my time. I want to be able to talk to you guys in an informed way that is correct, that is honest, that is true. And Bobby Webster once again bonifying the Raptor Freak is been telling the truth this summer. He's like, I don't get where this came from. That we have the problems with our salary cap and trade. We have to make a trade and all this kind of stuff. It's real easy. We just make one little move and we'll be under the apron. Bobby said exactly what Mike, logical Raptors fanatic, had helped me to see with his analyzation of the salary cap. And then exactly what we've been touting on this channel all summer. The whole sky is falling. Oh no, the Raptors have to make a move before the trade deadline this year was all horse shit. And Bobby Webster laid that to rest yesterday. And I love it. He said it basically. He's like, I don't know where this came from. I don't know where this came from. So some idiot with too much time in the summer decided to make a dust storm of bullshit. Just like, the Raptors have these problems financially. And this is, and Bobby said, there's no problems financially. We're in one of the biggest, most lucrative markets in the NBA. There's no problems here. There's, in some ways, there's none of this pressure y'all are talking about either. I love it, man. I love it when the powers that be in the Raptors come out and they tell the truth and they say exactly what's going on. And it's been lining up exactly with what we've been saying on this channel for 3 months. I love it. I love it when that happens. There's another thing he said that I was exactly right on, is that he's still talking to Masai regularly. I knew it. I knew it. You can't work with someone for 12 years and be so close in a partnership and working with each other that they're going to walk away from each other totally. Masai's a made man. He's made so much money, and he can do whatever he wants for the rest of his life. And if he wants to call his friend Bobby Webster on the phone, and Bobby Webster wants to call him, and they're still friends, even if they don't officially work together, well, he's still kind of in the brain trust. If you listen to what Bobby Webster said yesterday, he said, "Yeah, Masai's been there for me at every step. He's supporting us, supporting all the way. He loves his team. He loves me. He loves Teresa. He loves Dan. And he's going to be there supporting us no matter what." He said that's a special person, and sometimes in these kind of situations, this isn't allowed to happen afterwards. I mean, I don't want Bobby to get in trouble. I don't want a vindictive Ed Rogers to be mad to know that Masai Ujiri still has some influence over the Toronto Raptors, and that he's still working with Bobby on some sort of level. Maybe it's just an unofficial, I'm your friend, I'm going to talk on the phone with you sometimes level. But, I knew this, and this is just who's Masai's character. He doesn't give up on his people. He's a loyal person. He's an amazing person. And that means, as much as we found out yesterday that he's still talking to Bobby on the phone and probably giving him some advice here and there when he wants to. And when Bobby asks for it, he's doing it for Teresa too, for Toronto Tempo. This is confirmed. We thought this. We Windhurst this summer. I was like, I'll bet you Masai's still talking to Bobby. I'll bet you Masai talks to Teresa and Larry and helps them with the new franchise. I'll bet you. And yep, Bobby pretty much confirmed it yesterday. Exactly what I was Windhursting this summer. Masai Ujiri is still, to a degree, in the loop with the Raptors, guys. And that's just the truth. And Ed Rogers I don't know. I don't want you to get mad about this, Ed. Let this happen. Let this happen. Because in some ways, you love getting stuff for free, right? So you might be getting the influence of Ujiri without even having to pay him. So, what's not the light there? What's not the light? So, yeah, this is the big news right now, is the Bobby Webster press conference yesterday. It may overshadow Gradey Dick, Share Love Club a little bit today. But I do want to go over what Bobby said and what a lot, because I watched it like 5 times yesterday, guys. I listened to every single little word he said. and I paid attention to every single thing that was said and not said, and also every little thing that he was what he's saying, and it's amazing. He did so good yesterday. Once again, the Raptors front office, 10 out of 10 on media day, answering all the dumb questions from the summer that are stupid and need to be answered from idiot fans who are bringing up dumb stuff. And then also, really inspiring, telling us what's coming up. And I think most people that watched Bobby yesterday are ready for Raptors season to start. They're ready to see the fit with Brandon Ingram in the starting lineup. As he said, he's like, we're all really anxious to see the fit. Yeah, I know I am. I know you are, Raptors freak. I know we're all anxious to see the fit. Bobby wants to see Brandon Ingram playing with the barbecue and Yak, and we want to see that fit because we don't know. And Bobby was very casual and clear that, there's no clear plan. It's really, he's a GM and this is the job. And when they go into the season, he's on the same page with Darko. In fact, a lot of votes for confidence for Rajakovic in the press conference yesterday. A lot of votes of confidence for him, and we'll go over them. But he's going to be reacting as the team does the season, and he doesn't want to make drastic changes, and he probably won't have to because we're probably going to be successful. If he has to make drastic changes or anything, that means there's been a disaster this year, and maybe there's been people that got hurt, and we have had trouble winning. But it's most likely we're going to be successful. Rajakovic is going to look real good, and we're going to have to make tough decisions with our roster by kind of going through the season and seeing who's producing what, who's the most efficient, who is coming in and doing things a certain way. And then we'll probably lean towards keeping them around, and then some other people may be getting traded. It's true. There's a lot of talent on this Raptors roster. And at some point, some people may not be on the team, partly because it's just kind of been sussed out over the course of games that this is the direction that Bobby wants to go into. So it's very, very interesting. I love how much he talked about how him and Darko are working hand in hand. He mentioned it right away. It's like when we drafted Colin, when we signed Sandro Mamu, Darko was consulted all the way. And that to have a good company running, they're working with him. There's not going to be any surprises. There's not going to be any Calvin Booth, Michael Malone kind of bullshit going on here, because Bobby built this team with Darko, consulted. And Bobby, he's got the same ideas of what's going on. It sounded like Bobby knows exactly what Darko's doing in his brain. And he was glowing about it. He's like, Darko's really, really good about making all the players know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. That's this development plan. It's like he's very good communication, everything. And I have utmost confidence in Darko that whatever he's going to do this year, he's going to do it as best of his ability. And he's like, he's not even saying his expectations for Darko. He's like, I don't have any expectations for Darko. Darko's not in trouble. He said that basically. Darko's not under pressure. Anybody who's like, oh, we need to fire Darko, he's under the pressure and all this stuff, it's bullshit. Bobby said no. Darko has no pressure, because you know what he said? He said, I trust Darko. I trust him immensely, because it's not even my expectations for Darko. It's Darko's own expectations for himself that matter about this season. And that Darko's going to do the work and put in the work for himself. And he wants to look good for himself. And it's not even about Bobby's expectations for him. It's Darko's own harsh expectations for himself that matter this year. Man. And he said, yeah, you're going to have to ask Darko on Monday those questions, and he'll answer you. And it's like, and it really gave me the sense that Webster and Rajakovic are very much on the same page, have the same vision, and they're building the same house together. There's not two different sets of architectural plans there, one in Webster's head and one in Darko's head. No, they have the exact same schematics, and they are building the same design. That's important. That's what Bobby said. You got to have a good company. You got to run it together as a team on the same page with the same goals. And that's what's happening with the Raptors. Somebody recently did an behind the scenes coaches what is it? He was a coach, and he wanted to come, and he visited the Raptors coaching staff, and he worked with them for a day. And he just saw how organized Darko and his staff was, how every little thing is figured out. And every little thing that they do with the players is all organized, set up, and structured. And he was impressed. He was like, holy crap, this is what NBA teams actually do. Like the level of attention to detail and the way that this coaching staff works in syncopation with each other is on a whole other level. And it made him realize, like, the guy was using words about the Raptors organization, like, I've never seen something like this before. Like, if this is what it takes to win in the NBA, holy crap, this is amazing what Darko's coaching staff does and just how organized they are and how they're all working in syncopation with each other for the ultimate goal together. And the guy, he was very open about it. He's like, there were things I saw and what they were talking about that was so high level that I was like, holy crap, I have no idea what I'm doing in coaching, because the Raptors coaching staff just blew me away because of Darko's organization and how he delegates, and the different coaches have different jobs and all this kind of stuff is amazing. And I get that. I get that. To be the top and the best in the world and the best league in the world, the NBA, you got to be like this to compete at the highest level and win. And, I love that. I love that so much. Coaching in the NBA has evolved. It used to be he only had 2 assistant coaches. Now Darko has 9 assistant coaches. And, you have a lot of different jobs and delegations. Eric Curry, go do this. Jim Sand, go do that. Mike Batiste, you got to take care of this. And it's all moving parts and all one big picture. And that madness in some ways has to be a vision shared once again with Bobby and Darko, looking at it and seeing the same thing. So yeah, amazing press conference. Y'all, I want y'all to show love for Gradey. Let's talk about Gradey. Grady's coming into his 3rd year, and Bobby said he's coming back bigger and stronger. And I can tell from some of the pictures of young Gradey Dick, who's going to be turning 22 in November, is getting the muscle on. He was such a goofy looking kid. As Darko said, when he came in as a rookie, he looked like he was 16 years old. And now he's going into his 3rd year, and Dick is bigger. Yeah, a little bit of phrasing fun today, guys. If you want to, today is a carte blanche day for your Dick jokes, because it is Share the Love for Dick today. I knew if I did this one for Gradey, there was going to be a lot of innuendo. So you go ahead. This is the free pass. Normally, I'm like, nah, we're not doing Gradey Dick jokes. All right, y'all? None of this Anthony Black, Gradey Dick, jersey swap kind of joke mentality here. But today it's allowed because it is Gradey Dick, Share the Love Club. So why not get in there and do it? That's right. All right, let's see what y'all are saying after 17-minute monologue. I'm really impressed. And also, news yesterday that we added Jared Roden back to our roster, and our 21-man training camp roster is complete. And we will cut 3 people before the end of preseason and training camp, and we will have our final 18-man roster. And really, there's only one spot to figure out, because the 14 of the guys are guaranteed. There's the 3 two-ways are figured out, and then there's 4 guys playing for one spot. And we're going to just have to see how it susses out. Of course, A.J. Lawson is the favorite to get that one spot out of those 4 guys. There is a little bit of leeway if there is some issues with Chucky Hepburn. I would say him, that they could switch a 2-way off of Chucky and put it on Jared Roden and keep both him and Lawson again this year if they wanted to. Those are the only 2 real outcomes I could see. It's either going to be Roden or Lawson straight up out of the 4. I don't see David Roddy or Olivier Sarr making this team. They're going to be cut. It's either going to be Roden or Lawson, and the very off possibility that maybe they switch a 2-way off of Chucky Hepburn and make him a straight up rookie, and then they give that 2-way to Jared Roden to keep him along with Lawson. And the things that happen to Chucky, then I think he ends up going to just 905, and he's not a regular Raptor. I don't know. But I don't know what'll happen. It's more likely the 2-ways will stay what they are, and there's just one spot for 4 guys. So as much as Roden and Lawson were best friends and playing with, well, I don't know if they're best friends, but they were teammates last year and played a lot together last year. Well, they're in direct competition for that last spot on the Raptors roster for the season coming up. Yeah, 21 men going to training camp, 18 leave. So 3 get cut. And we're going to have to figure out who they are. Trevor J saying, don't feel bad if someone rejects you or ignores you. People usually ignore and reject expensive things because they can't afford them. Wow, that's a crazy word of wisdom. I like that one because it's a lot of self-confidence to be that way. That's right. Yeah, you're going to ignore me? Well, you can't afford me. Woo-wee! That's the way to look at it right there, Trevor J. That's right. Get that self-confidence up. Tell what you want to tell. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying Bobby closed the door and locked it on all the foolish people so they could shut the hell up. That's right. That's right. Trevor was saying yesterday they need to send this press conference to ESPN and educate Kevin Pelton and all the rest of them down at ESPN. They write all these bullshit rankings and stories and just listen to Bobby. Please just listen to Bobby. You know, Brandon Ingram is an amazing player. And I love what Bobby said about Brandon yesterday. Brandon is a player's player. You know, this kind of statement, you know, some people don't get what that means. What does that mean? Brandon Ingram is a player's player. What does that mean? That sounds so weird. Well, I know it from comedy, right? You know, there's comedians back in the day, in the 80s, in the heyday of Robin Williams and Whoopi Goldberg and Bobcat Goldthwait, you know, Comedy Aid or whatever they did that time. Anyway, you know, there's well-known comedians like those ones I just named, and then there's ones that aren't as well known, but they're very respected in the industry. And they're people that the comedians, the big time ones, will stick around and watch them because they enjoy them themselves. That's a comedian's comedian. So a player's player is a player that, you know, the players in the league really look up to and say, wow, that guy has some skills. You know, Paul George is a player's player. Carmelo Anthony was a player's player. Well, Brandon Ingram is a player's player, according to Bobby Webster. He's, you know, players look at what Brandon does, his skills, his ability to create his own shots, and then they look up to him. They look up to him and they steal from him, to be honest. Now, Brandon stole from Kobe, and well, people are going to steal from Brandon. That's what happens. People steal from Carmelo. People steal from Paul George that are healthier and can do it better than Paul George. But yeah, that was pretty cool to hear that. And like, you know, the ideas and what he was saying about Brandon Ingram this year, I love that he said straight up that there won't be any load management. There's not a plan for load management for him because the ankle is fine and that we don't necessarily have to load manage him. I was figuring we might do it just to be safe. And there probably will be some load management of him at some point, but it's not intended to happen for the season. And they're coming in the season. And as Bobby said right at the start of the press conference, everybody's healthy. The Raptors 100% healthy. Let's knock on wood for that one. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Bobby said they have a plan from April 1st to the beginning of training camp, a health plan to get everybody on track and online to be healthy for the start of training camp. And I think mission was accomplished. And he also made a big deal about Darko's development summers. He said that last year was the first summer of Darko development, and this summer is the second summer. And we are expecting to see the gains from the summer months because of Darko's extensive personal development plans for each of the Raptors. And that, you know, Scotty gets his objectives for the summer. Emmanuel gets his. RJ gets his. And they come back and they work on what Darko wanted them to work on the most. And hopefully that shows a progress and a development that they make another leap. And especially with first-year players from last year, as Bobby said, they're not rookies anymore. They're going to be second-year players this year. Jacoby, Jamal, Ulrich, Jameson, and Jonathan. So, yeah, it's very, very good press conference. I appreciate Bobby Webster so much. He got a little emotional when William Liu asked him the question about Masai Ujiri. You could tell. You could tell. He got a little emotional about Masai not being there, and that was special. In some ways, look, you know, I know it's a business. I know that in some ways, you know, this is very beneficial to Bobby to, you know, get the move up because Masai's gone and stuff like that. But in some ways, it's not about that. It's like it was a family. It still is. And, you know, there's something bigger than business at the heart of the front office of the Raptors for the last 12 years. And, you know, the fact that, you know, Masai Ujiri, even though he was wrongfully dismissed, we all know that he has no hate in his heart. He's just a huge, bigger than Ed Rogers kind of person. And, you know, he's not going to turn his back on his friends. And that's the thing that you learn from Ujiri right there is that even though he's been, you know, kind of, you know, sent away, he's not going to turn his back on his friends. And his friends are Bobby, Teresa, and Dan, and other people like that mattered to him from the last 12 years of his life. And he's still rooting for the Raptors. He even said that before he left. He said, listen, I may be gone at some point, but I believe in this city. I believe this city will win another championship, and I'll be proud. And we know that. So it doesn't matter if Masai officially works for Toronto or not. He's still Toronto. He's still rooting for us, and he is still helping to a degree, guys. That's just the truth. You know, if Bobby Webster can talk to Masai every day, how much do you think he is actually involved in what we're doing still? Seriously. Seriously. He's talking every day. Every day. Trevor J saying that the Vegas Aces beat Indiana last night. And surprisingly, the Mercury beat the Lynx. Phoenix looks like they're the best team. This is really a rise of the Mercury. The Phoenix is rising and taking out the best team. They shocked the Minnesota Lynx last night to take control of this 5-game series and go up 2-1. And the Lynx can't mess around. They may be going out very, very soon if they don't be careful. And also the Aces taking control of their series with the Fever, beating them in Indiana last night also. So, yeah, WNBA playoff action has been fantastic. And, well, we're going to have to see which one of these 4 teams is going to be the champion this year. But right now it's looking like it's getting closer to a Mercury Aces finals. That's right. Good job, Trevor. Thank you. James is saying Gradey is going to be out leading scorer off the bench. He had a couple of 20 and 30-point games last year. Yeah, Gradey Dick was awesome. They did bring up Gradey in the press conference yesterday, and Bobby said that he wants Gradey to be more consistent. He had the really great start to the year. He really did. And then it dropped off. Of course, he got hurt, really badly hurt in that Orlando game, and then he was gone for the rest of the year. But I understand what Bobby's saying, and this may be the truth for all these guys around that position, because he said it for RJ too yesterday. Efficiency. He wants a consistent efficiency from Gradey, RJ, Oshai, Jacoby, you know, those guys around that position, the 2-3, where it seems like we have a couple, maybe one too many of those guys on the team right now. That is probably what's going to determine this, guys. And, you know, he was coy about RJ when people brought up RJ yesterday, and I'm glad they did. And, you know, of course, Bobby's going to say everything we're going to do negotiation-wise is going to be private. I'm not going to talk about this right now, but he was very elaborative about what RJ needs to be doing this year to be, you know, and in some ways I like that because he told us exactly what we should be looking for this year with Barrett to gauge whether he is part of the long-term plans or not. And it's efficiency. That's the first word he said. He wants RJ to play an efficient basketball game and, of course, improve on defense. And he has been doing that. And, you know, the way that he said it, it made it sound like Bobby said, I believe in him. He didn't say that, but I could tell you he believes in him that he's going to do it. You know, RJ is not messing around with his life. I mean, that dude has the DeRozan code. And this whole summer, he understands the assignment. And when he comes back this year, I hope to see a very level efficiency from him because I want him to be a Raptor for a long, long time. And I know whoever out of those names I just mentioned is more consistent in showing up every night and given a certain amount of stats for the Raptors, they're probably going to be the ones we invest in going forward. And that we're going to have to see where it goes with Gradey, Oshai, Jacoby, and RJ Barrett, AJ Lawson, Jared Rhoden, you know, all these guys. You know, there's decisions that will be made during the season. Some people say, "Oh, you know, what kind of this? Where are you going to move people? Or are you going to do this?" Some people trying to imply Darko may be under fire this year, and Bobby said, "No, there's no pressure on Darko. He's hitting his benchmarks. He's doing exactly what we thought he would do for the rebuild." And well, like he said, they have an open idea about what to expect for this season. And in some ways, it's not a specific number of wins. It's not a specific outcome in the postseason. It's just more keep building and improving. And Bobby mentioned Darko's idea of just getting better every day, showing up and making a 1% increase in what you've done. You know, that's how you win the day. You know, that's what he's talking about because that's really Darko's philosophy is. It's like not a long-term thing. It's like we're going to focus on just today and getting slightly better today. And we're going to do this every day, repeat. And that's kind of the way Darko's been training our guys. And that's part of the reason why hopefully they've been progressing and getting better and better as players. But Darko's development track record has a lot of great success stories in its past. Devin Booker, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., you know? So we can help and pray that the development plans he has for our guys will continue to work with our team. That's right. That's right. Let's go. Yeah, I want to see Gradey be a very powerful six man for the Raptors this year. In some ways, I want to see a guy who comes in and it's kind of like a Sam Hauser. It's kind of like a 3-point specialist that's off the bench, and boom, they got to find him because he's going to open up the floor in spacing and give him a lot of trouble. And that's what I want to see from him. James is asking this. Good morning, James is saying, Lex, do you see Gradey becoming a starter in the future for us? Possibly. I think that the things that are important for him to do that are that he has to continue to build his NBA body, and that he has to continue to flesh out his game in different avenues other than just a very, very good three-point shooting. And that's stuff like, especially on defense, playing all out on defense, becoming a very reliable defender in the situations that he's asked to be involved in. You know, he wasn't a great defender his rookie year because he's very weak and young and inexperienced. And he's got to get better in those departments. As much as RJ has to be a better defender as time goes on, Gradey does too. And, having muscles and added to his body and strength, he should be on his way in the right direction. So that's a big part of it right there. I think that in some ways, the way he is right now, he shouldn't be a starter. We played him as a starter, but as Bobby said yesterday, we've had not a whole lot of talent that we wanted in recent years in the Raptors. And in some ways, with injuries and different things, Gradey was thrust in the starting lineup maybe a little prematurely at times. But that kind of stuff is really good for a young player to get that taste early so that they know what to expect and they can aim for and try to, keep back in there. He's like, yeah, you got starter for a little while there, Gradey, with the Raptors, but we're healthy with barbecue, Brandon and Yak. And, you're going to have to, if you want to get back to the starting lineup, well, you're going to have to flesh out your game completely other than just being a 3-point shooter. And then he'll get that. I'll bet you, James. I'll bet you. It may not be with us. I want him to start for us, but we'll have to see. Right now, I still see him in that 6-man role, like a Sam Hauser kind of 3-point shooting specialist off the bench right now. Yeah. Trevor's saying this. Hang on. I jumped ahead. Let me make sure I get back and don't miss any comments. Who you think is going to get the last roster spot, AJ or Jared? Well, my sentimentality, of course, is with AJ Lawson, the kid from Brampton. I'm going to pick Canada every time. That's right. Straight goods and Canadian goods, man. If I have a choice between American product and Canadian product, I'm picking that Canadian product right now because I have pride in my country and I'm a strong patriot for Canada. And we're going to stand strong in bullshit, elbows up. So I say you pick the Canadian product, especially if he's working his ass off and he knows the assignment and he is not slouching and he earns it himself already. I mean, let's talk about this at Summer League. What happened at Summer League? AJ Lawson was a key component of winning at Summer League. He was absolutely a quick driver up and down the court, so fast, one of the fastest players in the league. And the one game AJ didn't play, we lost to Sacramento. Now, I'll say this once again. If we were wanting to win the Summer League championship, AJ Lawson could not afford to be sitting out any games. Well, he sat out against Sacramento, and his absence was felt, and we lost to the Kings. So I want AJ to get the spot. I don't care. I think that it's a solid nod that it looks like he has a favorite. Why the hell would Drake and OVO put him in the OVO gear in the advertisements before the season if all of a sudden AJ is off the team and off somewhere else all of a sudden? So I think he's got a good direct line on getting this spot. David Roddy showing up at Summer League for the Vegas and being around the Raptors all of a sudden mysteriously. In some ways, they just wanted him to get time in there and work out with them. I don't know if it's very serious that David Roddy could be that spot. Olivier Sarr is a limited player. In some ways, they just brought him in to possibly go to 905, honestly, guys. I could see both Roddy and Sarr playing for the 905 this year, even though they don't make the regular Raptors training camp roster. They don't make the regular Raptors roster for the season. So, yeah, it is really between Jared and AJ. And, Jared Rhoden is healthy. He was hurt at the end of the season, and he got waived for a little while from the Raptors because of his injury. But now he's healthy. And I love, this is another thing, testament to Jared Rhoden for not getting bitter or pissed at the Raptors because he got waived earlier this summer and coming back around and having that opportunity put in front of him again. You know, we like Jared Rhoden. Jared Rhoden's been fantastic around our team the last year or so. And in some ways, you know, I like that we circled back and we gave him this last training camp spot to give him a chance to still have a chance to reclaim a spot on our team. I don't know if it'd be better to have Jared Rhoden on our team or Chucky Hepburn. In some ways, I wonder about that. Chucky is an undrafted guy that we signed a two-way. In some ways, Rhoden's a bigger player. But, you know, Chucky Hepburn's a very good steals guy. And he's going to be one of these guys that's just going to be like getting his hands on the ball every which way. But Rhoden's able to do that too. So I don't know. I in some ways would love to keep Rhoden also. I like the look of how we had with Lawson and Rhoden at the end of the season last year. But I really do think it's going to be Lawson versus Rhoden. And that's the biggest training camp battle. And whoever's going to win between them is going to get on the team. And I, like I said, I want that Canadian goods. That's right. Straight goods on Canadian goods, y'all. Island Farms. Island Farms is a dairy company. And they go sell you some cream cheese, ice cream, milk, sour cream, yogurt, all that stuff. Island Farms is part of Agripur Cooperative. And they are based out of, I believe they're based out of BC. They have Canadian owned, operated, manufactured, and sourced. That's right. They are under the collective of Agripur Cooperative. So it's all Canadian-based stuff. So Island Farms Dairy, if you see that brand name in the grocery store, that is a Canadian product. 10 out of 10 on the Canada score. So feel good supporting Canada if you're buying Island Farms dairy products. There you go. Straight goods on Canadian goods. That's right. That's right. Elbows up. Let's go. Monique is here. Great to have the super fan Monique Lawrence in the chat. Always a pleasure and a real joy to have Mo live in the morning. Good morning, Rapid Freak crew. Rooting for AJ Lawson or Jared Rhoden. Are you kidding me? Nice to see Jared Rhoden healthy. Amazing press conference by Bobby. Let's go. Lots to take in. Yeah. Bobby's 10 out of 10. Bobby's so good. He's so measured. They come at him with questions. Michael Gray had the dumbest question yesterday. I mean, they were pretty good overall yesterday. I want to say, press, y'all have been tightening up your game. You're not doing no hot mic moments. And only one suspicious kind of cheesy ass question. And that was from Grange. And it was dumb. It was kind of like a Mad's snappy answers to stupid questions kind of thing. That old segment in the Mad magazine. It's like, you know that one where somebody asks something dumb and then you just have a snappy answer. Well, listen, the stupid question was, it's so dumb. It's like, Grange, why did you ask this, bro? At least it wasn't a toxic, stupid question. It was just a dumb question. Bobby, do you feel like you want to have your fingerprints on this team going forward or something like? He said something like that. Do you feel like your fingerprints are on this team or something? I don't know. It was dumb. Basically, hello, Michael Grange. Bobby Webster's worked for the Raptors for 12 years. And almost all the moves that we made in these 12 years, he's had some sort of input and been involved in. So why the hell would you ask him, since this change has happened, that you think he needs to put more of an emphasis on his mark on the team? He's been there the whole time. You don't understand that Ujiri and Webster were working hand in hand this whole time? And really, Bobby, he said, just shut him down. He said, actually, Michael, I feel like I already do have a big part in what we've done here. Oh, Grange, man, you're so funny sometimes, man. Grange, why'd you ask that? I mean, they treat it like we just changed our team completely, and all this stuff. Bobby's like, no, man, come on. No, listen, there has been changes. Yes, Masai left, and it's sad. In some ways, he kind of elaborated on what the difference is without Masai. And it's the new ownership. That's been a big change. I've had to go and hang out with Tony and Ed and get to know Keith better. And but really, nothing's really changed that much. Actually, the roster is pretty similar to last year. We have a lot of the same players coming back this year. We have a couple of new guys like the rookies and Sandra Mamu. But for the most part, the turnover of the roster has not really happened. And then secondly, nobody on the staff changed either in the last year other than Masai was let go by Ed. And that's it. It's like they didn't hire any new coaches or change any of the coaching staff. They didn't change any of the office people for the most part. I mean, it's not like Rodgers came through and did the thing that they said they were going to do is hire somebody in between. No, they didn't have to even hire anybody because Bobby just took the position and is doing it. So it's like there's so much continuity from last year's Raptors going into this year. And there's not a whole lot of changes other than the ownership, and Masai's gone is really the only big changes this summer from this summer. So, yeah, I like all that. I thought that was very interesting when he was talking about it. Of course, he said the things that they miss about Masai is the big inspirational speeches, the feeling of like this is bigger. And just, Masai's just like that. We know Masai is inspirational. We know Masai can give a pep talk that'll get people to run through a wall. And that may be what's missing the most. That may be the thing that like Bobby cannot replicate with the Raptors. That may be the thing that may be tough. Who knows? Maybe you can sneak Masai in there hidden in some way and come in and just speak to the guys for a second and just tell them what he wants them to do. And nobody knows it. It's like Masai calls Scotty out of the blue. Say, Scotty, Masai, I miss you, man. What are you doing? Scotty, listen, I want you to stun on them hoes. Fuck them up this year. Go out there and mess them up. You are a top player in this league. You go kick their ass. Yes, Masai, I will. That's all he has to do. Just call them, Ujiri. And just do it, man. I'm telling you, man. I don't know. But, yeah, you could tell. And Bobby said something about it's time for me to let my wings out and soar. Yeah, it's just a new opportunity. In some ways, Bobby's got to deal with a more corporated structure than Masai and him had to before with Larry Tannenbaum and the way MLSC was before. Now, in some ways, Bobby's got to deal with a little bit more people looking over his shoulders and watching him with Keith Pelly and the new group with Rodgers. So it is what it is. And honestly, Bobby's a badass. He did such a good job yesterday. He came off very polished. He came off very personable. He let his guard down at the right times and told us enough stuff. He showed some emotion, but he was also very, very strong as a GM. And, I love him talking about the way he looks at GMing in the NBA. He talked about the different eras of copycatting, whether it was the big three, whether it's our long arm monster. Now it's a defensive swarming of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He talked about the finals and how he thought the finals were one of the best finals in recent years because the teams were just so good the way they played and stuff. And he definitely is like paying attention. He's building our team in some ways with this in mind. He also talked a lot about the salary cap and how things are changing and his views on how to work it. And once again, we got to remember Bobby Webster is probably the biggest salary cap expert running an NBA team right now. And if he knows the trends and the things that are coming up in the salary cap, he's going to know how to run our team the best as far as getting the best out of our cap and what we're doing, the flexibility, the opportunities, and also the way he's just brilliant. We should really, really trust Bobby when it comes to managing the team with the salary cap. And he elaborated on some of it yesterday. You can watch the interview. You can hear him talk about salary cap stuff and feel confident that he is running this shit exactly the best he can. So it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Monique is saying future continues to be bright for Gradey, of course. That's right. Gradey is so fun. It was that Tim Hortons ad he did, and then the TikTok with him and Jacoby and Scotty. Grady's just fun, man. He's just a fun dude. He's goofy, and the team has fun having him around and stuff like that. I'm sure team dinners, I'm sure rides on the bus and the plane are made better because of Gradey's sunshine, being around and being goofy and being quick to maybe do something stupid or something like that and be fun. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What's not to like about Gradey Dick and his great 3-point marksmanship and his goofy ass aura. Yeah. What's not to like? That's right. Nako's here. Good morning to Nako the Nacho. AJ Lawson over Jared Rhoden. That's right. Canada. That's right. If Gradey keeps the conditioning up, he's an all-star. Yeah, he's going to have to. The thing is with him, and this is something that we got to pay attention to with him, is that anytime you have a really good 3-point shooter and they're trying to add muscle because they're younger and they're getting better, there's always an adjustment period where their shot may be off at different times as they level up with their muscle, as their arms get stronger and their shot changes a bit as their body changes. So that's part of the inconsistency sometimes with 3-point shooters is that they gain muscle or they get stronger and their 3-point shot changes and they have to adjust to it. So that can be part of why they struggle sometimes with this. But yeah, hopefully Grady's smoothly transitioning into a bigger, stronger, muscular body so that he can, be consistent with his threes at all stages. But there is an adjustment. You add some weight and some muscle on your shoulders and your arms. And in some ways, your shot can be altered in certain ways. So let's see what else is going on. Monique is saying this also. Masai is still quietly with us, just saying great questions by the media, not Grange, though. He wasn't bad, though. I would give Grange a pass. He just asked a dumb question. Like, it was just dumb. He should have thought about that before he asked it. Like, why the hell would you ask that, Grange? Of course, Bobby's been involved in everything we've done. The man was a big part of the Kawhi trade. He's a big part of a lot of these trades. But yeah, they were pretty good overall. William Liu, really good job yesterday, man. William Liu, of course, has a personal relationship with Bobby Webster. They've done the hello and welcome this summer. And, he knew where to ask the questions with Bobby, especially the Masai questions. Thank you. Also, Lewinberg and Chelsea even had some good questions. And also, who else was in there? That Sampson, of course, we heard Sampson. Eric Kareen right at the beginning. A little bit from Doug Smith. The normal stuff in the press conference. And, really good answers and good stuff. The one thing I will say that I didn't like was there was not a single mention of Emmanuel Quickly in the press conference yesterday. And you know what? I don't want to read too much into those kind of things. But, that's something that I did notice is that they barely mentioned Emmanuel. Not at all. Hardly at all. And I don't like that. I don't like that to a degree. I like his answers on Scotty, saying, what do you expect from Scotty? And once again, he's fallen right into what we've been saying on this channel. It's not about his points, guys. It's about being a leader. It's about being a good defender. It's about rebounding. It's about those kind of things. It's about finding his offense when he wants to take it and go get it. He can do it whenever he wants. Very elaborative about Scotty and what's expected of him this year. And it's not what casual fans might think. Is like Bobby Webster said, it's not about his scoring, guys. It's about his leadership and what he's going to do out on the court all around. And that's what matters. And listen to Bobby when he says this, y'all. Seriously. He also said that he feels like RJ is going to have a much better year this year, partly because Brandon's going to be out there drawing the double teams. And some of the double teams that Barrett saw last year are not going to be there this year because they're going to be too busy trying to go and see BI or Scotty instead. So we should see RJ freed up to a degree to be able to operate maybe a little bit more free this year because of Ingram's presence. And I like that. I like that a lot. Most saying 9 more days until the Raptors play basketball. Woo! This is really that sweet spot of the year where we have all kinds of giddiness because we're just about to get on that roller coaster ride called the NBA season and go through the whole months of the process. And I know, every team gets like this. Everybody has a feeling. The fan nations have a feeling this year could be the year. And they see their rosters for training camp. They start knowing that they're in town practicing for their training camp. And the fans start getting more and more anticipatory and kind of excited. And I know we're feeling that. I know I could hear you. I could see you guys in the chat last night after the press conference, after seeing our training camp roster, that y'all are ready to watch some Raptors basketball because this is that exciting calm before the storm. This is the part of the year where anything's possible for our whole entire year. So we're all kind of giddy and just ready to watch, especially with the delay of waiting for Brandon Ingram. It's funny because Bobby said that yesterday. He said, I think we're all very anxious to see the fit with Brandon. We're all very anxious. That's right. Including Bobby Webster himself. That's right. Most saying Serge back again, like he never left, shooting threes at OVO. I love that footage. Yeah, there's something interesting going on with Serge Ibaka right now. I think that maybe he would base himself in the U.S. more, but maybe the political atmosphere down there is not his vibe. So he's spending more time here in Canada when he's in North America right now. And whether it was the ad campaign with the Spanish beer, whether it's him training Ulrich Shamshe, he's back. in Toronto. He's where in the world is Serge Ibaka? He's at OVO. And as like this weekend, he was bombing threes from the top of the key. I don't know exactly what Serge is doing. You know what? If he wants a position like JYD or Jamal McGlure has, give him one. Raptors. Seriously. If he could be some sort of special consultant coach for our players through Darko's coaching staff, do it. I mean, you're talking about an NBA champion, a world-class athlete, a guy who's just recently competed in European basketball leagues and is still in extremely good shape. I mean, I don't care if Serge Ibaka wants to hang out with Robert Shamshay all the time and take him on as a young pupil on the regular. That would be great for Ulrich. Seriously. Seriously. So, man, Serge, salute to you. I shared the love for you last Saturday. And I'm glad I did because this man is in Toronto. That's where in the world Serge Ibaka is, at OVO Center. That's right. And he's bombing. Did you see that clip, Mo? He didn't miss none of them threes. He's just shooting them up there just like his 2019, putting them through the basket. That's right. You go, Serge Ibaka. That's right. James is saying, did you see Gradey turning into Gordon Hayward type of player? I hope not. I hope not, because Gordon Hayward, the only thing I associate with him is getting hurt. And no. I don't want that kind of player for him. I think that Gradey is his own individual player. He's just such a weird mix. He's very unique to himself. And in some ways, we can make little comparisons to different players around the league. And so often they'll be white guys, but it's not, I don't think that's what it is. I think Grady's got a chance to kind of carve out his own little who he is on his own. And that he doesn't need to be compared with anybody because in some ways he's goofy. And he's got some very interesting skills other than just being a three-point shooter. Some of the stuff where he can attack the rim and his athleticism and stuff like that. And his dogged determination to go all out to chase people and get on the floor after loose balls. That kind of stuff added with the three-point shooter. Because sometimes you can just be a three-point shooter like Jason Capono. And she's like, oh, you're just a three-point shooter. But that's it. Jason Capono could shoot the hell out of the three. But what else was he doing out in the court, guys? Well, Grady's not like that. And I know I just compared him to Sam Hauser, but in some ways, that Sam Hauser comparison is not fair to Gradey either because Sam Hauser is really just a three-point shooter like Jason Capono also. No, Gradey can be so much more than that. And we've discovered this since his rookie year. And that's where I'm excited to see the growth of Dick. I know, I did another one. All right. I got to stop doing that. This is the one day. This is the hall pass for these jokes. I'm sorry. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Nako saying Pelly needs a conference before a national holiday. I really do hope that this was partly a gift to Raptors Nation after ruining a long weekend with firing Masai, that you're like, you know what? Let's have good feelings and vibes all weekend. Let's let Bobby talk to them and get them inspired and excited for the Raptors season over the weekend. I'm glad they did it on Friday because in some ways, look, I don't want to feel like the Raptors are behind the rest of the league. And I've seen so many teams starting their training camp and their media day in the last few days. And I'm like, whoa, we're not starting until Monday. But to be honest, these guys have been training with each other all summer long. It doesn't matter. They've been getting their time in and spending time together in Spain and Austin and all kinds of different locales. So it's like, yeah. So what if the Knicks already did their media day? We'll do ours on Monday, but we're not behind or anything because our guys have been together in town working out with each other on the down low already. A lot of them have already been here working with each other for like 2 weeks already. So, yeah. Let's see. Most saying way better than Gordon Hayward, James. Yeah. Come on now, James. Yeah, way better than Hayward. I mean, Hayward could have been better, but he got hurt a lot. And we don't want that for Gradey. No, we don't. We want Gradey to be a tough dick. All right, let me keep going. All right, let's keep going here. Nako's saying Gradey equals Clay. I hate that comparison. Once again, I don't like people comparing people to Draymond or Klay Thompson. They're too easy to like use as a three-point shooter, Klay Thompson. Dirty defensive player, Draymond Green. Nah, let's stop using the Warriors so much for comparisons. Seriously, y'all. Klay Thompson's annoying to me. I don't like Klay Thompson. And when you say Gradey is like Klay, it's insulting to me. Although Gradey would love that comparison. Gradey loves Klay Thompson. And he'd be very flattered that you said that. But to me, I'm like, ugh, Don't compare our great Grady to Klay Thompson. Blah, blah, blah. James is saying, I hope so, to Monique. That's right. Yeah, Gordon Hayward's career is sad. What could have been? It just didn't happen because too many injuries. And he's done now. He retired. He's done. And there's a lot of unfinished stuff that didn't happen for him because of injuries. And we don't want that. We don't want that for our guy Dick. No, we don't. Shaq Lindsay said, I think the easiest move before the trade deadline is Oshai. Oshai needs to be extended before the trade deadline or he will become a free agent. If they extend him, they will be over the luxury tax. Yeah, this makes sense. And, he was very coy when they brought up the extensions for RJ and Oshai. And that's what I'm saying. Like this year is an analysis year for the fit of our team, and whether things fit or not, then things will be adjusted. That's the whole job of being a GM. Bobby smiled. He said, that's the job, isn't it? And it's true. It's like he's going to analyze the talent. Darko's going to figure out the rotation. He's going to put guys on the court. Depending on how they're playing, they'll get to play. And, well, some guys may get lost in the shuffle, and some guys may not be a part of the Raptors at the end of this year. And this is a very easy, in some ways, move there. But if Oshai's off the charts fantastic and certain other people are looking really bad, maybe that's the way that Bobby goes. And he says, you know what, Oshai, we're going to extend you, and we're going to keep you on the team. And then somebody else is the odd man out. So we'll just have to see how it goes. That's the thing. Bobby has no set plan for what his decisions will be. He has to see how it goes, and he will react and strategically make the right decision with the information he gets from seeing the results on the court and whether we're winning or not. So, in some ways he said it like yesterday. He's like, sure, we'd love to be like one of the teams in the finals last year. Oh, yeah, we'd love to get that high, but we're a young team. And in some ways, the progress and the increments of getting better are on their own pace, and it doesn't all just dump all at once. Like even Oklahoma City, even though they're a young team that just won the championship, they've had their foibles and steps in the years before to get to that championship this year. And the Raptors, as I said before, it's like an escalator. And we got to be on a certain escalator seat going up to Larry O'Brien. And I feel like we're about midway through the escalator now in the NBA. We're not down the bottom like some people think we are. We're in the middle, seriously. But we could go up and leapfrog some of these teams that they see as better than us in the league. Teams like Philadelphia, Boston, Miami. A lot of these teams that they have ranked above us in the Eastern Conference, we're going to jump ahead of them, and we'll be in the top 4 or 5 teams in the East. And then we'll see where we are on that escalator and how close we are to Larry O'Brien. Of course, we probably won't swing for the fences and get the finals this year and compete for an NBA championship, but we need to show progress in that whole long-term goal towards that. So, that's the thing. When people have expectations, which is what the Sunday Report is on tomorrow, well, they need to be very realistic with them and understand we're still a young core, and that, going for the very ultimate prize, which is that trophy right there, is not necessarily in the cards for this year. But who knows? Maybe we fuck around and find out Brandon Ingram is like that, and we do turn a corner, and all of a sudden, whoa, the Raptors are just clicking, and they're a team of destiny. So we'll have to see. There's a lot of different possibilities for this year for the Raptors, and most of them are positive, honestly, guys. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Rat Free Crew. Good morning to the coach, Cool Cat, enjoying the WNBA playoff action. Mo's saying no load management for Brandon Ingram. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I thought they may do that for precautions. And I also love this, that Bobby said this about Brandon. Brandon is not involved in the noise. What does that mean? He's not paying attention to ESPN. He's not paying attention to rankings. He's not paying attention to pundits or Bleacher Report or any content creators in the noise and talking about him. He doesn't care that ESPN ranked him at 77 on the 100 list. No, this man's coming to work. He's going to go and do what he does, and they can come and give him the accolades afterwards. No, he's not listening to the paper. He's not listening to the news. He's not listening to the pundits. He's going to just show up. He's going to do his lunch pail, and he's going to put the work in, and the results will show for themselves. And that's the thing, man. I love that kind of player. And this is the funny thing. Bobby made an allusion in the press conference. He said, we had a player like this before. He was talking about Leonard. That's right. So, woo! Get ready for some Brandon Ingram, y'all. Seriously, get ready for some Brandon. That's right. Milbester is here. Good to see Milbester. We're in the heat of the pennant race. The stretch run of the Major League Baseball playoffs is coming up soon. And man, the Yankees and the Blue Jays and the Red Sox are in a real battle at the AL East right now. And Milbester's saying this, it's still not over, Lex. He's yelling too. We don't usually see Milbester yelling at us, but he is. Rays almost beat the Jays, and we are still tied. Can Toronto lose a game for once? He really wants that. Jays never lose these days. Yankees just beat a good pitcher who beat them last week in Rogers. Okay, so we're getting our MLB pennant race update from Yankees fan, and he's saying, we're still coming after you, Blue Jays. Just go, Vladdy. Go, Vladdy, and the rest. Kick some ass and beat the Yankees and finish number one in the AL East this year. Please give that gift to Blue Jays Nation. We deserve it. It's been so long. Come on now. Let's win a pennant. Come on now. Let's do it. That's right. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. Yes, so looking forward to seeing the fit and synergy. Yes, of the Toronto Raptors. That fit with Dick. No, all right. Scott, golly, what are you doing that, Lex? Why do you do this? Stop. It's the one day I can. It's the Saturday Share the Love Club, Gradey Dick. That's right. Always good to see MJ. Shaq saying this, RJ has another year before being extended. It's a little more complicated to trade RJ if you want to stay under the tax and get value from it. Yes. I think you're right, Shaq Lindsay, that the easiest piece to trade, and in some ways the one that may not make us have too many holes in our roster, is Abaji. But I love it. I mean, it feels so good to be redeemed when Bobby Webster gets up there. And I swear he watches us, or somebody who works for him is watching us, because they're keeping a tab. It's like, well, what's Raptor Freak talking about this morning? What's going on over there? What are they saying right now? How do they feel about the Bills thing? Oh, they didn't like it. Oh, okay. How do they feel about this? And they're testing the water. We're like free comment cards directly in that instant, because we're here every day, and they can actually hear, like, real ones for the Raptors, like fans that have been there all along, fans that have the place in their heart for the team in the right place, not toxic fans. We really do want them to just win. And if they lose, we're still standing with them. We're not fair weather fans. So in some ways, it's funny because, like, Bobby comes in, he's like, I don't know where all this mess came from this summer about the Raptors are in trouble with the cap and all this bullshit. He said that straight up yesterday. He's like, I don't know where these people make this shit up. It's basically what he's saying. And then I thought about Mike immediately. I was like, oh, Mike, logical Raptors fanatic, always coming through with the deets and the specifics on the salary cap to tell me exactly the ammunition I need on my show so that I can tell everybody the straight facts and say, no, this is not an issue, because Mike told me, because he went and looked at the numbers himself. He actually read the salary cap. He's actually looked at the Raptors numbers like Samson Folk would. And he's basically told us this is overblown and people are making a big deal out of nothing. And I love that. I love that. When Masai and Bobby come back from the summer and they put to rest all the damn lies that the media, the social media, the fans, the press have been putting out about the Raptors, and they lay it to rest. I'm like, damn, this is redemption. This is them saying, you know what? Lex and Mike were right. And we were right. And people should have been listening to us all summer when we were saying this shit about the salary cap with the Raptors is so overblown. And Bobby just told everybody that straight from his mouth yesterday. Straight from his mouth. So maybe at some level, Bobby appreciates me coming in here and trying to keep things straight with the truth. And what the hell's happening with the Raptors with all the misinformation? Was it misinformation about vaccines? Misinformation about this in this world? There's so much misinformation. Well, misinformation you can see yourself to the door, because we ain't doing that here. No, we don't. We're trying to give the right information, especially about the Raptors. Especially about the Raptors. That's right. That is right. Boom goes the dynamite. Yeah. I like to hear that the extension for RJ has a little bit more time to percolate, to figure out how we're going to do this. In some ways, I know RJ loves playing for Toronto, so he's going to go all out and he's going to do everything he can to get that extension here on the Raptors. And I know he will. I know he's going to be successful. Bobby said exactly what he expects from him. And well, let's watch this year. Watch RJ carefully and see if you see the efficiency. See if you see the better defensive stuff, and see if you see a better offense because less attention on him, because Brandon's presence is out there. Yeah, we can pay attention. Bobby just gave us a lot of what he's looking for from Barrett and whether he's going to be our future plans. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? James saying, Lex, for the fantasy, did you increase it to a 15-man roster? You know what? It's actually an 18-man roster with the injured reserves. So mimicking the amount of players you can have on a regular NBA roster, which is 18, it's 15 regular roster spots and 3 two ways. I try to make the same size roster for our teams. So you have like 18 people on your teams, something like that. And some of them are stashed away on injured reserve, though. That's what it is right there. Most saying this, lots of takeaways, high praise for the entire team, RJ, etc. Yeah. 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 I like the way he talks about Scott. I like the way he talked about Gradey. I like the way he talked about, locking down Yak. He talked about the Yak deal and doing the extension for him. Really good job by some of those guys in the press room trying to get the questions about RJ answered and stuff like that. So yeah, just a great press conference. Wasn't too long, and really caught us all by surprise. I don't think anybody anticipated this press conference coming so quick. I guess the press did, but Blake Murphy and them didn't really warn us at all. They were like, "Oh, they're going to call a press conference for Bobby Webster on Friday afternoon before the weekend, and he's going to do his media day on Friday." I like that. In some ways, I like that they did it yesterday instead of Tuesday. Because in some way, like I said, Keith Pelly, this was your way of making up for us our weekend earlier this summer. Thank you. Thank you, Keith Pelly. See, I got to be fair. I'm not going to just blindly hate these guys. As long as y'all are working with Bobby, not getting in his way, and you're allowing the Raptors to be the best team they can possibly be, Keith Pelly, I can be your friend. I can be your friend just as long, even though y'all were wrong for stabbing Masai in the back like that. And Ed Rogers will never be my friend. But Keith Pelly, if you're going to be nice and you're going to let Bobby Webster do his press conference on Friday, and so the Raptors fans can get all happy and excited and really, really amped up for the season, good job. That was good. That was a smart move, honestly, doing the press conference yesterday. That was a smart move. We back. That's right, Mo. We back, baby. Let's go to the game, as Monique will many, many times this season. She will be there when the Nets play the Raptors in the preseason game on the 17th. She will be there in October. That's right. We back, baby, in the building. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying we drafted Colin Murray Boyles to pick up the loss of defense if such a move is made. Yeah, I like how much Bobby was talking about Colin. He's very, very honest about Colin. He says he's got a 20-year-old body. He's really just learning. He's never gone on a road trip in the NBA. But he likes his hands. And this is the thing I'm telling you, the strength in Colin Murray Boyles is his hands. He's just a pesky defender. And as Bobby said, and this is exactly true, he'll find a way to get minutes in the game because he's useful, because of how pesky he is at just getting the ball away from the other team with steals and blocks. So Colin Murray Boyle, he's not going to be really an offensive player for the Raptors this year. He's going to be a rotation player for the Raptors as a rookie, and he's going to provide very much turnovers. He's going to be a shit disturber, and he's going to be a nightmare for some people on the other side because he's just going to go and take the ball from them. And I love that. That's part of the reason why Bobby got him, is because he wanted that aspect of him. And in some ways, Bobby said it. Oklahoma City, with their personnel, Caruso, Dort, Cason Wallace, and their rest, well, in some ways, we're copycatting them right now, guys. It's just the damn truth. And Bobby knows it. He didn't say it explicitly in the press conference yesterday, but he brought it up. He was like, that's the look that won the championship this year. Well, we're already been on our way copycatting this mentality of dogged defense where you just hound the ball carriers across in transition. And we're doing this. We're full effect. We just drafted 3 guys this year to add it to the team. Our 3 rookies all have this aspect to them, that they are going to just hound the hell out of people and cause turnovers. Chucky, Elijah, and Colin. Colin's hands are amazing. And I can't wait to see Colin Murray Boyles grow as a player, as a young man, and as an NBA defensive guy. He's coming. He's coming. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Nako saying Dick got a good shot, handles those balls, and Dick going to make a nice splash this year. Okay. Yeah. You're really getting them in here. Yeah. They're really getting them in there, Nako. All right. Calm down. Somebody gets a bucket of water or something for this guy. Gerald with this His yeah. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying plus multiple players at one position stunts Dick's growth. There you go. The door is wide open. Now you guys are getting to share the love for Gradey Dick's name because it's just fun to do this with. Yeah. You know, that Gradey Dick highlight of all of his 3-point shots that Raptors admin put out earlier this summer was crazy. I was actually listening to it, and Matt Devlin does say Dick quite often when he's calling him out. Dick for 3, Dick in the hole. He is doing those kind of calls from time to time. And the phrasing is a little archer at times, in some cases with Gradey and Matt Devlin. But Matt Devlin, most of the time, is calling him Gradey and not calling him Dick. Because, yeah, there can be some phrasing issues there. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying Dick had a rough start, but has evolved so much. It's just the beginning. I'm rooting for him. Dick fits right in. Okay, see, even Fiercey's doing this. That's amazing. Oh, we've opened the floodgates, and the bad innuendos are just coming in. That's right. Crazy. All right, I see. This is what happens. Good morning, Lex from Raptor Free Crew. Good morning to you, Kaz, our WNBA fantasy champion. All the people placing Jacoby above Gradey are going to find out real quick this year. I mean, it's tough because, it's tough to gauge those two guys. In some ways, they're very different flavors of ice cream. And in some ways, I would like them to both be on this team long term because I feel like they could be both so interesting. And I feel like they have a nice bond between each other, too. Gradey and Jacoby. You know, that's the thing that Bobby said yesterday is like the competition on this team gets them better. The third team wants to beat the second team. The second team wants to beat the first team. And the first team wants to beat the second team. You know, that kind of competition on the bench mob days of the Raptors was a huge thing that pushed us up to levels that got us closer to the 2019 championship. So any kind of push from people like Elijah Martin and Chucky Hepburn coming up at people like Gradey Dick and Jacoby Walters, fantastic. It's just as much as Gradey Dick trying to push towards RJ Barrett or, Manuel Quickley also in those kind of ways. The competition on the Raptors is going to be high. And nothing is going to be given. All these guys are going to earn their time, their rotation, their starting, everything. And it's going to be a battle because in some ways, battle's there. And also Dick. And there's going to be battle Dick. And there's going to be who's going to be the 3-point shooter? Is Mobo or Colin Murray Boyles going to be playing more? These are big questions. How much will Shamshay get better this year? And will Shamshay need to be entering the chat as far as on the regular Raptors? The competition is high for this year, and this is something I wouldn't want any else otherwise because I want this competition to be high because, as they say, steel sharper than steel, and these guys are going to make each other so much better. Jacoby's looking over at Gradey. Grady's looking over at Jacoby, and they're saying, yeah, game on, my friend. Game on. Let's go. And that stuff will make our team better and better because they're going to push each other. And Walter's a very different talent than Dick. And I think they both should coexist on this team. And it's tough to really compare apples to oranges, is what I would say right there. That's right. It's tough. And some nights it may be more of a Walter kind of game. And we need Jacoby out there more than Gradey off the bench. But on some nights, that spacing and that sure shot from Gradey may be more called for. And Darko will call the number 1 to go out to the court instead of 14. So we're just going to have to see how it plays out. Once again, Darko's a tactician. Darko's smart. In some ways, in success, we're going to see new aspects of Darko's coaching that y'all are going to be really, really happy about. Because sure, he's a development coach. He can coach young players that aren't winning yet, but he's going to coach young players that mature into older players that are learning to win more, and they will win more. And I can't wait to see the coach's X's and O's battle with Darko and some of the things he comes up with, whether it's matchups, play sets, whatever he's going to do. Because it's all coming. We're going to see Darko's a good coach at a high level when they're winning too. Not just when they're losing and they're just trying to get it in the rebuild. When they get to the playoffs, you're going to see that Darko's valuable also in those aspects with the chess game against coaches like Billy Donovan and Eric Spoelstra. So, yeah, the chess game. That's right. Randolph is here. Good morning to Randolph Phillips. Weekend blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. Life connections are made with people whose paths you cross over time. It's important to always make a good first impression. Yeah, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're somebody who has a business or you're somebody that wants to make connections in networking. Yeah, you don't want to burn a bridge before you even started it because you rubbed somebody the wrong way. I'm really bad at this. I'm an antisocial kind of person, and I have no filter. I often ruin first impressions with people myself. In some ways, I'm okay with that. I guess in some ways, that's my early detection about whether this is a person that's for me or not, as far as like should be involved around me or not. If I turn somebody off immediately in the first couple seconds, so be it. It's just like somebody said, I'm too expensive for their taste. That's right. I just get back to tie it in the words of wisdom from Trevor with the ones with Randolph. I appreciate Randolph Phillips. Blessings of Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. It is good to have a good first impression. I would say lead with your best foot and always be polite and courteous to everyone. That's right. That's right. I'm not the best at all that. I'm not gonna lie. Fiercely saying Cheryl Reeves storming on the court to the point they had to eject her from the game. That was interesting. I was predicting the Lynx would win, but I'm thinking Mercury might get it. Yeah, they're up now 2-1, and the Lynx coach might get suspended. And yeah, this is a little bit of a mess going on here. A very, very, very dramatic WNBA playoffs going on right now. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. WNBA is growing right now. Growing, just like Dick. No, stop, Lex. Why'd you do that? That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying Jacoby's time will come, but he needs to take a back seat to Dick. That sounds really bad with that phrasing right there. Wow, you guys are, yeah, the floodgates are opened. That's right. Yeah. Once again, I don't like pitting those two against each other. I think it's very natural to do that. But I think once again, that whole position around the whole entire Raptors, they're all collectively battling for the time and the future on the team, whether it's Abaji, Dick, Barrett, Walter, even the new guys like Murray Bowles, Lawson, Roden. That's the very direct battle right now for just making the team between AJ and Jared. So yeah, it's just how it is. And these they're all individuals. They all offer different things and different levels. And man, I think that Jacoby is going to be fantastic. I think Grady's going to be fantastic. I'd like to have both of them on our team long term. Seriously, I really would. That's right. Trevor's saying, I like what Bobby said about Ingram. He don't care what people think of him. That's right. That's right. Brandon, in some ways, he's got nothing to. I mean, he does have things to prove, but in some ways, he has things to prove to himself. And it's not that he has to prove to anybody else. In some ways, he has to prove that he can come back from this injury and get back to the level that he was before. And he will. He will. Man, he looks so happy right now, too. That's the one thing. Brandon Ingram has a totally different kind of energy around him than any time ever in his whole entire career. And I'm wondering how that's going to feed to his production and the way he moves on the court. Seriously. I think that there's a lot of stuff that's already been built up with the other Raptors and him in the secret behind the closed doors. And this is the really weird thing that's different and special about Brandon Ingram on the Raptors is that they've had like 8 months together and they've been working with him so long. So there's a lot more familiarity with Brandon than we realize that we haven't seen at all because he hasn't played for us yet. But he has been working with these guys all summer and he's been healthy the whole summer too. So there's a lot of buildup of chemistry on the down low that we're going to see immediately in the games this season. And we're going to be like, holy crap, he really does fit with them well because he's already playing off them way better than we thought. And we got to remember they've been working together in secret behind closed doors for months this whole summer. And that's part of it right there. That's what's going to make it special. Usually you don't get this much lead in time to making a debut with a team where you can really spend a whole lot of time picking the brain of the coach and understanding exactly what he expects. And then getting a real long orientation period where you can just be friends with all your teammates. You're not actually competing and you just get to know them and travel with them and be around them, get the feel of the organization. And you're not playing yet. And then boom, you finally show up and all of a sudden it's almost like you've been there for a while because you have. It's just that we never saw you on the court with everybody. So that's the thing. People got to realize about this. This isn't like all these other free agency summer deals that happened where Boucher went to Boston and Precious went back to Miami and Bradley Beal went to the Clippers and all this kind of stuff. No, Brandon's been with the Raptors for a long time already. And he's ahead because he's already been learning, and getting taught, and working with his teammates already. So we'll have to see what happens. That's right. We'll have to see what happens. That is right. Let's see. Minnesota star player got hurt last night. That's Collier, right? One of the best players in the league got hurt. This is going to be a big blow to the Lynx, and it's going to get in their way. This is why I'm saying a path to a championship is not just an easy route. You can be the best team in the league, have the best record, and other unforeseen circumstances can get in your way. And yeah, that's part of the reason why that coach ran on the court, right? Is because the player got hurt. That's right. That's what I heard. That's right. Let's see. It's Shaq Lindsay saying Bobby said internal pressure is good for Dick. Jacoby needs to pressure Dick for his job. Okay, yeah. This is out of control. Raptors super fan Monique Lawrence is saying Kyle Lowry interview for year 20. Your thoughts, Lex? I didn't really hear any interview from Kyle. I'll go look at the Instagram stories, though, because I seen him. He's first on my list. There's Kyle wearing the ugly-ass Philadelphia blue jersey and saying, hey, it's Kyle Lowry, 20th season. He's kind of being goofy. I bet he's a little giddy right now because of his new media job and feeling like, oh, this is cool. This is going to be a good challenge. Even if the Sixers are a total shit show and Joel Embiid and Paul George don't ever show up this year, which is, I'm hearing Daryl Morey has no timetable for them to come back. I'll be happy because I'm doing Prime, and I'm also going to be just enjoying my 20th season. It's probably my last season, and I'm just going to make the best of it. I'm not going to sit at the end of the bench with a towel on my head. I'm just going to enjoy myself because I have a good life. I have 2 beautiful sons, a beautiful wife. I'm going to be working in broadcasting after I'm done, and my life is good. So you go on then, Grote. You go on then and come get retired up here in Toronto right after we sit. 20th start of training camp. Here we go. So Kyle started this morning, 4 hours ago. His 20th year in the NBA. Training camp started for Philadelphia this morning is basically what I'm seeing there. Matt Devlin is posting all the messages to Fred VanVleet after his injury, wishing him the best in recovery. You can really tell that Matt Devlin, the voice of the Raptors, has a huge affinity for Fred VanVleet, and rightfully so. Fred is a very important Raptor in the history of our franchise, and I wish that more of Raptors Nation would respect Fred VanVleet better. I know a lot of the real ones do. A lot of the real diehard Raptor fans understand just how badass Fred is, but there's still too much disrespect from certain pockets of Raptors Nation towards Fred VanVleet. It needs to stop. All right? It needs to stop. And Matt Devlin would tell you that personally to your face if you were disrespecting Fred. That's right. Norman Powell's understanding the grind down in Miami. He went to the Miami Marlins baseball game yesterday. What a shitty field. That's a weird-ass field. So weird. But, yeah, he was there with the Marlin, the mascot, and I bet Norman even threw out the first pitch for Miami Marlins yesterday. So, yeah, that's what Norman's doing. He's getting adjusted to being heat culture, being down there. There's Vin Bagnani with his family. So nice to see assistant coach Vin with his wife and daughter. Raptors official admin putting the Raptors availability with Raptors general manager Bobby Webster. Good stuff yesterday. He's a hooper's hooper, is what Bobby said about Brandon. And this is a stat that the Raptors admin put out yesterday, and this is fantastic. And this illustrates a little bit about what I've been trying to say about the specialness about Scotty Barnes, is that there's only 2 players in NBA history that have averaged 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, a steal, and a block in their first 4 seasons in the NBA. And one of them is Scotty Wayne Barnes. The other one, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And that's what I just say, because the special thing is the block and the steal. You know, a lot of guys can average 15 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds, and many have. But not all of them have averaged a block and a steal also. And from Jordan, that's impressive for the block. But to Scotty, that's just normal business, because stocks, steals, and blocks, that's just a currency that he is very, very wealthy in. Yeah, he can get those. But yeah, that's a telling stat. And as they're joking on Raptors Reddit this morning, they're saying, we've got propaganda to push, folks, about Scotty and Michael Jordan are the only 2 players in their first 4 years to average 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, a steal, and a block. That's right. Get that propaganda out there, Raptors Reddit. That's right. Get that propaganda out there. I love that. I love that so much. It's a really cool stat. And like I said, that shows the all-around ability of our guy. Now, Coach Andrew Jones is with Stripes, and they're saying 6 more weeks till 905 G League season. So they're excited. Very, very cool. We love our Raptors 905. We love our Stripes and Coach Andrew Jones. There's DeMar DeRozan putting in work at USC. He's back at his alma mater. I believe that's where he is. No, he's at the Crespi Celts or something like that. I thought he was in USC. But yeah, DeMar, man, he still looks crazy badass, man. DeMar DeRozan one-on-one is so polished at this point. Like, he can take anybody to school at this point. The man is so amazing. Another GOAT. A lot of respect for DeMar DeRozan. If you don't have respect for DeMar DeRozan and you're in the Raptors nation, stop listening to Drake. That's what I want to say right now. Stop listening to Drake. DeMar is a great one for the Raptors, always and forever. And don't let this dumbass Lamar versus Drake beef get in your way of loving one of our GOATs. Seriously, it's stupid. It's so dumb. Slim Duck's still feeling the fallout from his grandfather's funeral. He's back in St. Lucia, it looks like. He's cruising around getting his time with his family in St. Lucia just before the season. There he is getting baptized. Once again, another picture of him where he was saved and dunked into the holy water and given his life to Christ. Fantastic stuff. Maybe he was worried about that rapture this week. I don't know. Maybe he was. There he is eating some food, it looks like, with his grandpa there. But yeah, sad stuff, and I know he's feeling it. Chris wants us to normalize giving him a motherfucking minute, y'all. That's what he's asking people right now. That's right. Let's see. Oshai is getting some gear from Soul Guard. He's putting this on blast. The best suitcase for the season, Soul Guard. If you're looking for a great suitcase, Oshai Abaji saying get that Soul Guard. It'll help you out if you have a very busy travel schedule like an NBA player does. That's right. Garrett Temple is showing himself singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star with his 2 little daughters. And the little baby actually clapped for the first time. And Garrett Temple is freaking out about it when the younger daughter, who was born earlier this year, actually clapped her hands together during the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star song. And they were very, very proud of her. Little benchmarks, little happy things that happened. Oh, you just clapped. And Coach, Mom's very, very happy about that. Very cute. The Temple family, always cute. There you go. All right, let's see. What else is in here? Colin Castleton is on the training camp roster for the Orlando Magic. And I also see Orlando Robinson is on there too on a 2-way. So, yeah, I'm looking at the training camp roster for Orlando Magic. And I'm like, yeah, there's 2 of our centers from last year, Castleton and Robinson. They're on the Magic this year. Okay, there's JYD to a book signing for his book, Role Player. Of course, I got that book right here behind me here. Y'all, if you find this book in your neck of the woods, get Jerome Williams' Role Player book. It's awesome. Very inspirational book and very informative. That's right. There's Serge Ibaka wearing a hat here in Toronto. I'm pretty sure he's here in Toronto right now. And there's AJ Lawson in the OVO ad with him and Steven Jackson talking about playing for his team, the motivation to keep going and keep grinding. You grind right through this training camp, AJ, and you get that last spot. That's what I wish for you, my guy. That's what I wish. There's your Instagram stories for today. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Chucky. That's right. Chucky Hepburn going to be stealing the ball, and we're going to do that Jason noise when he does it. Maybe they could get that on the PA system. It's like when Chucky steals the ball, they can make that Jason noise over the PA. Shaq Lindsay saying this. Hang on, let me get back to my spot. Where is it? Wow, you guys have filled it up. I love it. Bobby also said RJ is one of the best in putting pressure on defense, and said that with the addition of Brandon, teams are no longer going to put multiple coverages on him. Yeah, this will be very fruitful and helpful to RJ Barrett and his offense. He's not going to see as much attention for sure with Brandon Ingram on the court with him. And I want to see how this frees him up. I want to see how aggressive he gets, because we do know RJ is aggressive. And if he's going to have less defensive pressure on him, I want to see where this goes. This could be very interesting. And I also like that when the reporter asked the question about RJ yesterday, they said the Raptors' leading scorer, because that's true. RJ led the team in scoring last year, and we need to put that on blast. That's right. That's right. Cool Cat saying, listening from my hospital bed, hard to stay away. Laugh out loud. What? You're in the hospital? Cool Cat, I hope you're okay. I don't like to hear that you're at the hospital right now. And I'll only wish healing, positive vibes, and outcomes for you, no matter what is going on with why you're there right now. We're always thinking about you, Coach. And yeah, I hope you're doing okay. Send in well wishes from Kaz. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever's going on, cool cat. You don't have to tell us. We just wish you the best, and I hope that you recover, or whoever recovers. Maybe you're just there to see somebody. I don't know. Kaz is saying I could see part of the reason they aren't planning on load management with Brandon is because he pushed back on it. He wants to play so bad; it's in his DNA. This is probably true. It's probably true. Well, it's really Dr. McKechnie, right? Does Dr. McKechnie feel like Brandon will need load management? He'd probably saying no. And that's what Bobby said. He elaborated. It's like, look, the injury that Kawhi had needed load management because it was an ongoing thing that was still a problem. Brandon is fully healed from his ankle. He's fully healed. And that was part of the whole thing about waiting the whole end of the season last year, not rushing him back. He probably could have gotten rushed back and played for like the last 15 games of the season. But they're like, what's the point of this? We re-aggravate it and he gets injured again. He's going to have a setback and it's going to take all this time. So let's not even waste doing that. So he had such a long time for recovery. He's probably fully healed right now. And that the issues are not still lingering to the point where load management is necessary. Now, there's no intention to do it, but at some point this season, it may happen still. And you're right. I'll bet you're exactly right, Cass, that Brandon was like, y'all don't load manage me. I want to play 82 this year. In some ways, he might want to get enough games so he's eligible for post-game awards, postseason awards, because that's a thing now in the NBA. You got to play a certain amount of games or you don't get eligibility for any of the awards. So I bet you're right. I'll bet you're exactly right that Brandon's like, I don't want no load management. Nope. He probably doesn't want it. Kawhi was all about it, though. Let's just put it that way. Trevor's saying the battle of Canadian fresh water. Or Ottawa says, hell no, soup for you. Okay. I don't even know what that is about. The battle of water. Don't know what that one's about. Most saying Fred had successful surgery. Yeah. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus, for looking out for Fred VanVleet and getting his surgery done now. And hopefully speedy recovery for our guy VanVleet. And he can resume his career and be better than ever for the team he plays for, the Rockets. And hopefully he comes back soon. That's right. Get well soon, cool cat from Fiercey. Yes. Yes. Kareem's saying this. We all want a bigger and stronger dick this season. There you go. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's right. It's true. And well, we're going to get a bigger, stronger dick this year. Kareem. That's right. Bobby said it. He said it himself. There's going to be a bigger, stronger Gradey this season. That's right. That's right. Mischief is here. Good to see the baseman. I think Gradey will have more minutes than Walter. More people are higher on Walter. There's two ways to slow the game down: running 7 days in a row and get a six-pack or practice more, from my experience. Yeah, okay. I think that they're just different kind of looks, and we'll play them as we need them for the particulars. And there may be times where both of them are on the court together too. Obviously, there'll be times where they're playing out there together too. So I don't know who's higher on what. I mean, there's really is kind of like, I don't really see like a favor for either one of those two guys in general around Raptors Nation. I feel like there's some people that are maybe more Gradey and more than some people are maybe more Jacoby. But I don't feel like it's very distinctive where there's actually a favorite consensus among Raptors Nation. I think that there's a lot of people that can, like me, that like both of them. And they're like, wow, they're both valuable and they're both useful for the team. So, yeah, you're saying two ways to slow the game down: running 7 days in a row and get a six-pack or practice more, from my experience. There you go. Well, that's a big part of what the stages are for these third-year and second-year players, Gradey Dick and Jacoby Walter, is that they want to continue to slow the game down so that they know how to play in the moment and be smarter in each instance and reaction and be able to be, the best player in the moment for each play that needs at that time. And that's the thing. When you get more used to the NBA speed, size, and strength, and you're able to understand it and premeditate more, the game slows down and you're able to operate more, and Gradey gets more threes and Jacoby gets more baskets. And that's what we want. That's what we want right there. That's right. Good to see you, Mischief. Shaq Lindsay saying, I hope Dick head got bigger. Okay, I'm really regretting doing this at this point. To be an assassin in this league, you need to have that much needed confidence to take the shot. Yeah. Yeah, Gradey is just trained so well. He's really a prodigy. I thought he was just some goofy blonde kid. I didn't give him any respect when he was in Kansas. He only played 1 year. There's all kinds of reasons for me to be like, yeah, this can't be serious, but I was so wrong. He's a wonderkind. He really is a prodigy. He really is a very extremely talented athlete with his ability to flip and all kinds of stuff. He's very good at a lot of sports, guys. He's a really good baseball player too. And he just has a general athletic talent that some people just have. They're just generally a badass athlete. It's like Gradey Dick is on some sort of scale of Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Take Gradey down to the bowling alley and he can bowl against Mr. Perfect. And I'll bet you Gradey might go toe to toe with him. Let's see, all the different things Mr. Perfect did in wrestling to show off his athleticism and greatness. I bet you Gradey can do some of this too. Seriously. There's some Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig and Gradey Dick. I'm telling you, he's a multi-sport star, is what I'm saying right here. Yeah. Kaz is saying Oshai will have to take a deal similar to Aaron Wiggins or Isaiah Joe in Oklahoma City. If he doesn't take a bargain contract, bye-bye. Yeah, I think this is fair. I think that those are good comparisons from that team. In some ways, the level or where he is and what he does for our team. I think that's about right. Cream's saying, is Gradey Dick too young to be a spokesperson for Cialis or Viagra? Oh, why did we go here? Man, that man has so many endorsements. He doesn't need those endorsements. Maybe someday, Kareem. Maybe someday. Not anytime soon. Nah, Gradey don't need none of that. And he don't need to be associated with any of that. Can you imagine the ribbing that he would get? The ribbing. All right, why did I say that? Anyway, can you imagine the ribbing he would get from the rest of the league on the court if he was the little blue pill spokesperson? Seriously. That ain't right. Phrasing. That's right. Cialis. Man, no. Gradey is not anywhere near this time in his life. You got to give him at least maybe 20, 30 years on this. At least 20, probably 30 or 40. Hopefully. The young man's very healthy. Let's just put it that way. Come on now. Shaq Lindsay saying Oshai would be a great rental for a playoff team. Oshai for expiring in a contract. This is not a bad deal around the trade deadline, depending on how things shake out. And if I had my pick blindly not knowing what's going to go down this season, this is the deal that I would do if it has to be done to fit everything, like Bobby said, is I would trade Oshai for something what just Shaq Lindsay said, an expiring and a pick. That's not a bad deal. In some ways, that gives us a pick for the future. And honestly, if you send Oshai Agbaji to like the Milwaukee Bucks, which is his hometown, Milwaukee, he'd probably be in a position. I don't know if the Bucks are going to be a playoff team this year, but there's a lot of different teams around the league where he could be helpful to them and push that team ahead and get them better. I don't want to see Agbaji leave because I do like Agbaji, and I think he's very useful. But if I have to choose anybody on the team that is a possibility to not feel it so hard, it's him. And I've been saying this a lot of this summer. Is like if we do have to move somebody to fit the cap and get under the apron, I would choose him. And it's only because he's a little bit older in his years. And in some ways, he's gotten great development and leaps here in Toronto. So it's like we've been helpful to him. But there may be the ability to fill in for some of his duties with some of the guys that are younger coming up, like Colin Murray Bowles. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? W to Mike, logical Raptors fanatic. Yeah, on point. Mike's so funny, man. He's on the Discord talking a lot. He's not coming in here on the show, but we are talking to him all the time. And he's pretty funny in the reaction to Bobby yesterday. Like I said, we feel redeemed. I do so much work to do this channel all the time, and I don't want to be wasting my time. And when I hear Bobby echo the things I've been saying all summer, I feel like I'm doing the service right. I'm doing the Raptors and Bobby right by representing them correctly with the facts and what's going on with them. And I'm doing y'all right by informing and keeping us all on the right page. And in some ways, Raptors Nation needed this guidance because we've had so many out-of-pocket, misinformed, crazy-ass, immature, juvenile-ass takes in Raptors Nation that just don't make no fucking sense. And some people will parrot it around and go all over the place. No, in some ways, we needed the voice of the Raptor freaks out here, and whether it's in social media spaces, whether it's me live on the air with my voice, we needed these voices of sensibility, intelligence, reasoning, critical thinking, and understanding to sort out everything in this crazy ass perception world of the NBA. And Bobby bonifying, saying like what the things that we have been saying and echoing it straight from the horse's mouth makes me feel good that I'm doing the job right, because I'm echoing what he's saying before he even said it. Like, I've been saying shit that he said yesterday for 2 months now this summer, and he just came out and made it bona fide official because he is the head of basketball operations for the Toronto Raptors. That's right. That's right. That's right. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying this. Remember, Bobby also said RJ needs to improve in those areas to increase his value. Even if Bobby was fielding offers for RJ this offseason, he wasn't pleased with what was out there because he knows RJ is. I love that Bobby also said this. He said, and we're good. And this is something that they never actually said officially until yesterday. I never actually heard Masai or Bobby ever say this until Bobby said this yesterday. He said one of the things that's a calling card of us, a descriptor of us, and how we operate here, and he's including when he worked with Masai in partnership, a kid from Africa, a kid from Hawaii. Look at that tag team in the front office, amazing. Is that we're going to continue to pick who we want to pick and not who they tell us to pick. And this is shit that I've been saying on this channel pretty much the whole 4 years. Is the Raptors are not a team that's just going to pick who ESPN tells us to pick, who the fans think we should pick. No, they're going to do their research and make their own decisions on their own, and they're not going to be influenced by the consensus or whatever the press is saying. And I love that he said that. In some ways, he said it as like a big FU. He's like, y'all can continue to tell us what to do. We're not going to do what you tell us. Fuck you. Well, you won't do what you tell me. Zach De La Roca. That's right. In some ways, it's just like, this is how we operate. We're going to make the best move for ourselves. We're not going to worry about what other people are imprinting on us that they think we should do, Jalen Suggs. And we will do what we think we should do, Scotty Barnes. And I love that. He made that very clear that this is a calling card or a trait or a descriptor of how the front office of the Raptors has been run in the 12 years of Masai and Bobby. Is that all along we've been doing stuff that, we ain't listening to everybody else and hearing the noise. We do what we do because we want to do it. And we planned it out and we were methodical and we figured it out. And we're not getting off course. In some ways, Bobby said, like, look, the work that he's done with Masai has all been laid in. It's not like he's going to rip it all out and change it. No. The course of this team is continuing to go in that direction. Ride that wave, Bobby. Ride that wave like you used to back in Hawaii. You ride that wave that you and Masai used to ride together hand in hand until Masai wiped out because Ed Rogers wiped him out. And you keep riding that wave as far as you can in the work that you and Masai have worked and done together. I'm telling you right now, there's not much change in our team with Masai gone because Bobby is staying true to what Masai saw. And he's going to continue to carry that baton from the relay race with Masai forward and keep that, there's plans like, because they used to talk about it. It's like, we have 5-year plans. We have 10-year plans. We have 15-year plans. Who knows? Bobby's probably still on that 10-year, 15-year plan that him and Masai had. And he's not going to deviate from it. And that's a pretty special thing. In some ways, that's why I'm glad they didn't hire anybody else to come in and be the team president of the Raptors. Is because that deviation from that path that Bobby and Masai have been setting for 12 years is not going to happen because there's no extra person coming in with their own ego trying to put their own fingerprints on things. That's why in some ways Grange's question yesterday was so silly. It's like, don't you want to put your own fingerprints on the things with the Raptors? What the fuck what are you thinking, Grange? Where has Bobby Webster been? His fingerprints are all over this team and what they've done. Come on now, Grange, use your brain. It's not like he's a new hire. He just showed up. You've seen him for years. You know who Bobby Webster is. Come on now. It's silly, man. It's silly. James saying, Oshai for a late first-round pick. Aren't the Lakers looking for some defensive-minded players? There you go. There's probably all kinds of different options and ideas. We'll just have to see. That's what Bobby does. He's a GM. That's right. That's right. Much more valuable. Much more valuable because RJ is much more valuable than the garbage deals people were sending to him. Yeah, Chicago sent him some garbage deals this summer for RJ Barrett, and he laughed at them, I'll bet. It's like Chicago Bulls were probably like, yeah, we'll send you this player and this player for this. Listen, just because we did this deal with Indiana with Siakam doesn't mean you can fleece us. That situation with Siakam was something else. And you know what? Actually, I worked out. Siakam flipped into Brandon Ingram. So don't even give me this crap, Chicago. We don't want any of your crap for for RJ Barrett. Just because you want RJ Barrett in a Bulls jersey, and you want him running around for you as your new scorer and person to build around. Nah, this isn't worth it. We don't want your scrub players. I'm hanging up. Bye. Sorry, Mark. I like you, but bye. Shit like that, probably, man, because the Bulls did really want RJ Barrett this summer. There was a lot of talk coming from Chicago about him getting traded to them. There were a lot of rumors about that. That's right. Fiercey's laughing. Nako and Shaq Lindsay. Yeah, they're phrasing. They're out of control. Fiercey's saying, my only day making fun of Gradey, I'm capitalizing on it. There you go, Fiercey. You go ahead. Get all the dick jokes in that you want. That's right. Get all the dicks in you want. Stop, Lex. That's bad. Let's see. Milbester saying, Lex, the Jays play at 3 versus the Rays and the Yankees Orioles at 1. So we start 2 hours earlier. Hopefully they get that 1-game lead. Could come down to game 162. Diamondbacks got eliminated last night with one wild card. All right then, Milbester. All right. Keep that blow-by-blow, minute-by-minute update on the pennant race for the AL East, please. Please. I know you'll be in here tomorrow to give me the update, too. I know you'll be here Sunday. That's right. Dick muscle is hard. Okay, Trevor. Okay. Shaq Lindsay saying, are we forgetting RJ was a top 5 pick in the 2019 draft? Yeah. I think a lot of people are forgetting that. I think a lot of people are forgetting that he's a bona fide, very good player, and 100 in the ESPN Top 100 is insulting. Once again, they're forgetting. RJ's going to remind them. Just like Brandon Ingram's not listening to noise, neither is RJ. And RJ's going to let everything be proven on the court in between the 4 lines in the 48 minutes. And that's the only thing that's real in the NBA. It's not ESPN and their bullshit. It's not Bleacher Report and some convoluted ass shit. It's not no rankings. It's not no talking heads. It's not no talking about this or something that. The things that are the reality in the NBA are the 48 minutes on the court and who wins the game and who puts the baskets in the basket. And that's the thing that will get proven this year about the truth about the Toronto Raptors. You guys can talk about all you want about what you think the Raptors are going to be and this and that. I don't know what they're going to be. I hope they're going to be very, very successful and very good. And when they do that, a lot of people will be waking up to the reality of the world and not just the perception of the social media machine and the media machine like ESPN. Yeah, the perceptions of them, they can put out perceptions all they want, but reality happens on the court when Scotty Wayne Barnes leads his team to victory in Toronto over and over again. That's what I want right there. That's right. Milbester saying it's Mets. And all right, I don't care about NL. I'm not talking about NL. I don't give a shit about the NL. There's nothing about the NL. The Expos aren't there. Nah, I ain't talking about. Let's see. Yeah, we're not talking about Reds or Mets. I don't give a shit about baseball, Milbester. All right. Kaz is saying 100%, Lex. I love Jacoby. I'm just tired. A lot of people are sleeping on Dick. Because he didn't play much at the end of the year. I do agree. It will depend on what the team needs in the moment or who will be out there. Yeah. And I think they're going to get to play a lot together too. I think in some ways they really kind of like work well together because, Jacoby has a whole drive danger and, Gradey has the floor spacer and that helps Jacoby drive to the basket. So, I mean, once again, I say that each Raptor is an individual snowflake, and they have their own different attributes. Some of them have similar attributes to each other. There's a lot of crossover between Murray Boyles and Barnes, but there's some very different, distinctive stuff between the players too, and that's what's important. That's what's important right there. Let's see. Kareem saying, I love that this team is deep, and I know that it's hard. But a hard ask. But do you see Darko cutting the rotation down to 9, 10, or do you think anyone's number can get called due to matchups? Well, Bobby said yesterday he feels like we're 12 deep, that we got 12 guys that could play every night. And, Darko's already said that his rotation's 10. 10 was what he ran last year pretty consistently. On rare occasions, he did 9. But more often than not, it was 10, starting 5 and 5 reserves. And maybe there'll be 4 reserves that play a lot and 1 reserve that just gets like a little 5-minute stint. But there's a lot of 10-man rotations last year. So the starting 5, Barbecue, Brandon, Yak, and then you fill in the 5 that are going to be there every night after that. Shed probably pretty much every time. Sandro Mamu is probably going to be regularly in the lineup too, guys. It's not going to be Jonathan. Jonathan's not going to be the regular. It's going to be Sandro. Sandro, Shed, and then Walter and Dick. And then that fifth spot could change every night. It could be Oshai. It could be Jonathan. It could be this. And it could be Jacoby out one night and Jonathan and Jameson in one night. It could be that the opponent that night is Charlotte or Wizards or something. And we don't need our most premium players. And so we give some of the younger guys that are less experienced more time on the court for that in particular game, because they can get away with playing them against younger squad on the other side, like the Hornets or the Wizards. There's going to be a lot of factoring in. We may be playing a big game against the Knicks, and we're playing absolutely our top 10 players at that time and getting the best absolute minutes that we possibly can. So we just have to see how Darko calls the 10 rotation every night. It's not going to be the same every night. I'm going to tell you that right now. There'll be certain people that will be there every night. Scotty, obviously. RJ, obviously. But certain people will not be in the rotation every night, and they'll be kind of half rotation every other game, and they may be switching every other game. It could be Gradey switching every other game with Oshai or something like that. Who knows? We'll just have to see. Fiercely saying we're being creative today with the phrasing. That's right. The floodgates are open. You guys are allowed to do dick jokes with Gradey's name for once today. Just for today. I don't want to do too much of this too often. In some ways, I don't want to encourage it. And that's what I'm saying. Let's see. James saying, what's a lineup you like to see other than the starting lineup? I don't know. I mean, I'm just excited about all the permutations and possibilities. And I want to see a lot of Elijah this year. Like, I am very curious to see our rookies. I think Elijah and Colin are going to be very fun to watch. Elijah Martin's ability to dunk is insane, and that'll be very fun to watch at times. The Colin Murray Boyles is going to be a fan favorite. I'm telling you right now because of the way he steals the ball. And of course, Brandon, wow. So I don't know. I mean, the starting lineup is really exciting to me. And in some ways, I really do want to just see them right now. But, the permutations and possibilities of different lineups, well, we'll just see what Darko comes up with. And we may see some really cool lineups out there that are a mix-up of rookie, older player like Sandro or, we'll just have to see what the combinations are. So I can't really tell you. I mean, it's tough for me to say it off the top of my head. Kaz saying, you bring up a good point about the mental side of things. All things point to a big season for BI. He's got a lot to prove. In some ways, some people may have put him in this washed category that, like, you know what, this guy's done. And like, he's not going to do anything. And he probably heard that maybe. And he's just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to prove something to people right there. I think that, the thing about Brandon is he's a supremely talented basketball player, but he's been in not the best environments. And he's thrived even in those bad environments. So what happens when you put a really good basketball player in an environment that's very healthy and well-run and organized and makes sense? Well, maybe there's a new level of thriving that he can do with the right foundation underneath him. I think that the Pelicans were not a good foundation for him. He may have enjoyed being there with his friends and playing for them, and he really bought into Crescent City and being a Pelican. But I think that the foundation that franchise provided him to leap off of to be his best was not very good. And I think that he gets that here. And so I want to see where the springboard of the Raptors organization allows a talent like Brandon Ingram to go to. Because that's a big part of it right there. And even when he was in LA early in his career, that was a circus there and not necessarily a good springboard for him to get the best out of him also. So Kareem wants to see a Jakob, Colin, Scotty, Gradey, and Brandon lineup. Barnes running the point for like 3 or 4 minute stretch at the end of the third quarter. It's a fun lineup because you've got 3 starters in there. And then you've also got young Colin and then Gradey.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool lineup. That'd be a lot of fun. So Scotty's the point guard, and Grady's the shooting guard, and then you got Murray Boyles and Brandon at forward, and then of course Yak. Yeah, that's a pretty cool lineup. I like that lineup a lot. There's a defensive element with Scotty and Colin and Jakob out there that's really overpowering. You've got 3+ defenders right there. And then you've got a floor spreader in Grady. And then you've got Brandon, who's just a really talented, I can go get points by myself kind of guy. That's the thing. And that's what Bobby said yesterday. The Raptors have not had many players in their history that are talented enough to go get the shot all on their own with nobody else's help. And Brandon Ingram has it like that, just like Kawhi did before. Kawhi to Brandon, and Pascal to an extent, a little bit of this too. But that's the thing that people don't realize about Brandon Ingram. It's just like Kevin Durant, just like Kawhi Leonard. He can go get shots for himself and make them. And we're going to be expecting him to do that this year. That's right. Kaz is saying, I watched the end of that Phoenix versus mini game. Alyssa Thomas is tough, and Satu was clutch. There you go. Mercury are working hard to get this. They are working hard to get this. If they beat the Lynx, that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. Fiercely saying, when you leave a job, you stay in touch with coworkers you got along with the most. I believe 200% some players, Bobby and Darko, do meet up with Masai, but it's not publicized, no pictures. Yeah, I don't know if they meet up, but a phone call, just a check-in. Yeah, you don't spend 12 years on a job and don't make very deep bonds. And you can tell, like, Bobby is very tough, man. He's a tough guy, and he's a tough negotiator. But he got sentimental when they brought up Masai. When William Liu asked him that question, Bobby got a little teary-eyed for a second. He got emotional, and I'm glad he did, because he needed to give that signal to Raptors fans that Masai means that to him. That this isn't a cold, unfeeling business. That humanity does exist in the corporate structure of MLSE and the Toronto Raptors. And, the bonds of friendship, and that's you're exactly right, Fiercey. Just because somebody doesn't work with you anymore doesn't mean you're not allowed to talk to them anymore. I mean, what kind of world would that be if Ed Rogers could tell Bobby Webster to stop fraternizing with Masai Ujiri? That'd be messed up. That'd be the totalitarian dictator world that Trump would want, where he controls everybody's lives, because that's what he's trying to do right now, y'all. Seriously. There's some scary shit going on down there. I'm going to say that with Pete Hegseth is going to get all the military leaders together, and they're going to probably try and tell them that you better be loyal or we're kicking you out, because we're going to bound to do some really crazy shit, and we need you guys to absolutely be following our orders. And if you don't, well, you're fired right now. I think that's what's coming up with the Secretary of Defense, that fake-ass white supremacist Fox News fuckface, Pete Hegseth. So I don't know what's going on with that. It's very much a red flag. Anyway, I brought up politics for a second. That's on me, guys. That's on me. All right, let's see. They stay in touch via group chat. I think that Masai, in some ways, like I said, he's so wealthy now. He has the ability to be having so many things on the stove, like cooking. He can have the ear to Bobby and listening with the Raptors, and maybe a little bit of help. Maybe he's a little bit like Wayne Embry at this point. He's got the ear to Teresa and Toronto Tempo, and helping them launch the brand new WNBA franchise here in Toronto. He can be there for her. He's got to do things responsibility-wise for Basketball Africa League. He's got a lot of work with that. Now the UN's employing him for a certain position now too. So Masai's busy. And in some ways, he can be busy with a lot of different hats on in different places and be way more effective than just coming and working for one NBA team again in another team in another market. He can be all over the place this way. And in some ways, he can make more appearances on TV and do interviews and be more of a humanitarian and diplomat and different things, and a role model in a more powerful way, not having to run the Raptors day to day, every day, everything. Bobby seems a little stressed about the added responsibilities, but he's handling it well. He looks better now than he did a month or so ago. He looked a little hectic. And I think that partly was they hadn't totally decided who was going to be in charge. And when they finally decided he was going to be the one in charge, they're not hiring anybody new. There was probably a big sigh of relief. And also he got a little bit more comfortable again. Because there's a period after Masai got let go that everything was kind of up in the air and everybody was a little frazzled. That's what the reporters were reporting, that everybody's kind of a little right now around the Raptors because they don't know what MLSE, Keith Pelley, and Ed Rogers are going to decide about who's going to run the Raptors. And, well, they decided the right decision. And that's why I'm giving Keith Pelley and them a point on that one, too, that they didn't bring in another cook the kitchen to screw up the kitchen. No, we needed to continue the way we've been going, and they did a good job. They did a good job. Trevor's saying the front office made the best move bringing Ingram in early. All the time he was getting better and better. Exactly. And he's a student, and he don't want to waste his life. He was very much studying and looking at his teammates and their proclivities and tendencies and taking note of them and understanding how he would fit in with them as a player on the court with them. You know, he understands where Emmanuel likes to do this. He understands that RJ is going to go to his left and do this on this. He understands Scotty Barnes from watching him and how hard he works and the way he does leadership. Brandon gets it. And as a hooper, a guy who really loves the game of basketball, I think you guys are right. He didn't want load management. And he went full into, I'm learning my new franchise, and I'm not going to wait until I'm healthy. I'm going to go ahead and get a lot of stuff done being healthy and orientating me with this team. And I think that's something people don't realize about Ingram, is that he's done a lot of the pre-work already. That's right. That's right. Most saying players in NBA history to average at least 15. Yeah, we went over this. Only 2 players to do it, Scotty and Michael. It's very, very interesting. Shaq Lindsay saying, no homo, but I'm excited to see Dick this year and how Darko uses him off the bench in key situations. Yeah. Yep. Gradey, you're a great young man. I know someday maybe you'll pop that question to Carla and you'll, maybe have little dicks running around soon. Whoa, why'd you say that? But I'm just saying, either way, no rush. Carla seems like a nice young lady, a swimmer from Kansas. And, I just wish y'all the best of luck. We have so much love for Dick here today. That's right. We're sharing the love for Gradey Dick and just a great, goofy, fun, athletic, talented, amazing young man that he is. And I know that his parents are so proud of Gradey. So proud of Gradey. And in some ways, look, Toronto is a weird place to be for Gradey Dick. But you know what? He's smart enough to understand he's going to get so much out of Darko's development. And he'll become a better NBA player because he was drafted by the Toronto Raptors. And he will not get fumbled. You could get drafted by a couple other teams in this league, Gradey Dick, and you would get fumbled. And you may not have a great NBA career. So be very grateful and blessed that you are with the great franchise, the Toronto Raptors, because I've seen so many sad stories of players that could have been so much more, but they were just on the wrong team in the wrong place and didn't get the right kind of help from the team they were on. So always remember that, Gradey Dick. Always remember that. That's right. No homo. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying BI is an assassin in late shot clock situations, but imagine having sub-assassin like Dick together. Kobe needed Robert or Fisher to take those shots to take the pressure off of him. Yeah, I mean, having more great jump shooters on our team in general is always good. That's why I really covet Jamison Battle and Gradey Dick, because those kind of shooters are good to have on your roster. In some ways, you can't have enough of them in some ways. Mo's saying this, W Stream, W Vibes, we're right at two hours. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew Strong Forever, just helping me limit the comments. May not always be in the stream. Just know it's almost go time, and I still try and listen. I know Mo is not able to always be here in the morning, but I'm sure she's catching up with us later in the day. And as I said, if you're not watching me live like you are right now, if you are not watching me live, hit that 1.5 speed, and the 2 hours will go by faster. That's for sure. That's right. Bobby Wester's talking about the European Championships. Okay, it's the last day. It's Italy and Netherlands in the finals. Okay, for the European Championships of baseball. Let's see. James is saying, and we're like the lesser version of the 2019 Warriors. Steph, Clay, Durant, Trey. No, I don't want to do this. We beat them. No, we ain't doing this. Don't compare our team to the Warriors. No, screw that. No way. You're going to say Scotty is Draymond Green? No, we ain't doing that. Man. I'm not doing this, James. Fiercey's saying, I saw Trevor J posted Memphis Bigs are out for quite some time. Memphis fans, good luck. Yeah, Jaren Jackson is out. Zach Edey is out. There's been some injuries announced that are pretty troubling for certain teams and how they're going to start their season. Memphis and Miami are in trouble. And I think Philadelphia is in trouble too, because the news is coming out that Joel has no timetable. And Paul George too. I think that Paul George is a con artist at this point. I think he's a con artist. He's saying what Ben Simmons did to them. He's like, I want to go do what Ben Simmons did to the Sixers. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cass saying, yeah, Zach Edey out 6 to 9 weeks, I think. That's not too bad. The Jaren Jackson injury is more troubling. I think it's like 2 or 3 months, right? Jared Roden just did a recent interview on his game plan, time, and everything in between. Just posted. Okay, thanks, Mo. Yeah, I'm glad Roden. You know, that's the thing. Roden didn't take his Raptor stuff down off his social media after we waived him. So I think that there was always kind of a circle back agreement with him and Bobby Webster that he'd be coming back to circle back and say, you want to be on the training camp roster? We'll give you a shot to make the team this year. And, well, Roden's got a shot to make the team. It's really him and AJ is the two guys there is really in the battle for the last spot. Kareem saying when Brandon gets the nod for All-Star, the media will glorify the move to get him. I hope so. They'll come back around and say that. You know, Darko was fighting for respect on this. He kept saying nobody's giving us any credit for the Brandon move and what's going to happen with that. Well, it doesn't matter if they do. They're going to have to give credit at the end when there's success from that move. They will. I think you're right. Kareem. They will talk about the move afterwards if it gets pulled off in a very successful way this year. People will be like, holy crap, yeah, we should have paid more attention to Brandon Ingram on Toronto, is what they're going to probably say. James is saying, I noticed a lot of casual Raptors fans didn't seem too excited when we got him last year. Ingram is going to be a difference maker for us this year. I think it's just that, you know, a lot of casual fans just don't know who he is and what he's capable of. Maybe some of them are more recent fans, and Brandon has not had very good years in New Orleans the last few years. Very mired by a lot of injury and not being there. And, you know, he gets lumped in with Zion as like kind of a group of guys that just not showing up. The Pelicans had some bad kind of traits and kind of the look at them because like a lot of injuries and just not there and just inconsistent. So some people may have forgotten about him. Plus, it's like, you know, New Orleans has been kind of a team that does not get a lot of publicity. As much as they ignore the Raptors, the NBA is ignoring New Orleans Pelicans too. So casual fans that just watch highlights and care about dunks and offense, if they're not paying attention to the whole product, they probably weren't familiar with Brandon. That's part of it right there. And that's probably part of it. They just weren't familiar with him because they just aren't very good fans. They just don't understand the product of the NBA. He attracts double teams, easy buckets for Scott, RJ, and quickly. That's what we want. That's what we want right there. That's right. Let's see. Milbester's saying, damn, I just listened to the classic song Pop, Lock, and Drop. It's from Huey, and I forgot he died in 2020 from a shooting. I was 15 in my first year of high school when the song came out in 2009. Interesting. I think I remember that song. Then they killed Takeoff, my favorite rapper, 2 dead rappers in 2020s. That sucks, man. That stuff sucks. Stop the violence. That's what I say. Trevor's saying, I would like to see Scotty and Ingram both make All-Star. Me too. That is possible, but the Raptors need to be near the top of the Eastern Conference standings to do that. That is possible, for sure. Milbester's saying, my older brother and I were watching Fat Joe Jadakiss podcast with Kat on NBA stuff, and those two are hilarious. My older brother grew up with those two. Joey Crack is funny. Joey Cartagena. I have no idea what you're talking about in some ways. This is weird, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Classic card. That's right. We'll do this. All right. I got a couple more tabs to run through real quick. We did Raptors Reddit reaction, kind of. Somebody's saying it smells like 500 basketball with the Raptors this year. Oh, yeah. I like that. Yeah, this is all kind of, the rest of this is called kind of goofy. Yeah, I don't need any more Raptors Reddit. Let's see. All right, we'll go ahead and do the classic card. I think you're right. I think we're at that point. So let me get the box, and we're over time anyway, so I need to probably finish up the show anyway. Just do the card that you had on top here. What is that? No, I don't want to do that card. All right, let's see who we get. Okay, this one's it's recent, so it shouldn't be too hard. We'll just have to see how you guys do. Full name answer, please, on this classic card. It's a Charlotte Hornet, obviously, or Pelican, I guess. It's a Pelican. Buzz City. That's weird. Full name answer, you get the classic card. This guy's a more recent player. Devontae Graham. That's right. Kaz has got it. It's Devontae. Devontae Graham. Devontae Smart was the guy who was playing for Ottawa, right? Yeah, it's Kaz. Kaz gets it today, and I'm gonna say it's 100 points. I'm gonna say it's 100 points because it's a fairly well-known player, recent player. So 100 points for Kaz on the classic card of the day. If you get classic card points, you can become a Raptor Freak Trivia champion if you get them more often. There you go, Devontae Graham. That's right. Good job, Kaz. All right, let's finish up. Tomorrow, I'll do the Sunday special report on expectations for the season. Maybe we'll go over the Raptors training camp roster, and I'll kind of go over the depth chart and what I see and kind of where I see guys falling into the hierarchy of the team and who has the best chances of making the rotation and who should be playing more. And maybe some of the guys who may be kind of more 905 and not as much on the regular Raptors. Talk about that tomorrow. Sunday special report, Raptors 2025-2026 season expectations and what's coming up. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah. W Stream, W Community. Thank you, Kaz. I appreciate that. Just seen Serge at Walmart buying Raptors t-shirts. Seriously? You seen Serge Ibaka at the Walmart? No, don't go there. Straight goods on Canadian goods. Serge Ibaka. Don't be doing that. That's right. What's going on? Members only live stream. What is that? Anyway, all right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream. Thank you, Gradey Dick, for being a fantastic young man, a great role model for young kids, and a great shooter. And I look forward to continued success from you in your NBA career as you grow and get stronger, Dick. And we appreciate you. And I really appreciate your Canadian knowledge and the Tim Hortons commercial recently. I appreciate your backflip in Madrid, Spain this summer. I appreciate your TikTok lapping. That's weird, man. Why do you do that? Like, what was that? Seriously, Grady? That was weird, man. Either way, I appreciate it. I appreciate your Kansasness. I appreciate you being just a great young man with great parents and a great girlfriend and great brothers and sisters and just great endorsements. Yeah, that's right. Bar burrito. Go get that Gradey Dick bar burrito taco box. I'm telling you, it's good. I had it. It's very good. Crunchy chicken. Very good. Very good. Yeah. So, yeah, share the love for Dick. Get it in right now. If you have any more of those jokes, this is it. We're not doing them after today. So get your Gradey Dick jokes in right now. Because, we're getting back to like, all right, no more of this childish Gradey Dick stuff. I mean, I could go crazy and just make a whole bunch of dick jokes right now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to take off. That's right. Oh, that's his real name? That's Fat Joe's real name? Joey Cartagena? Cartagena? I don't know that. I didn't know that, man. I'm learning. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors.